Alrighty, everybody, welcome to Casual Sports Stock Podcast, Week 11 Stock Options Edition. And now we got a gentleman who realizes that he has nightmares of Taysom Hill still running on the field. Here's Chris.
Yeah, Taysom Hill, what a beast. Browns make him look like an MVP candidate.
Yes. And now we got a gentleman right over here who realizes, why did I spend $30 watching a Cowboys game? Here's Douglas.
You know, Stu, like I'm glad I can say I went, but gosh, I would not do that again. Like I'm coming again in like 2 weeks when they also are doing another Monday Night Football game against the Bengals, and I will absolutely refuse. 2 hours of traffic. It was a nightmare, Stu. It was a nightmare.
Oh my
But it was glad I can say I saw Jerry's World.
Yes, glad you saw Jerry's World. I mean, it was a Jerry's nightmare, I should say. It's the wacky world of the Jerry's World. And now I guess we'll talk about Week 11 so far. Gentlemen, what is your first thoughts on Week 11?
Oh, complete and utter domination by the team from Michigan.
Yep.
Oh, see, that wasn't my first thought. My first thought was on the record-setting Cowboys. How about them Cowboys, Stu? What is it? What did I say? 6 straight home games with being down by more than 20 points.
Yes.
Woo! NFL history right there, and I was there to see it. I'll save that ticket stub for life.
So it was well worth the $30 when he's witnessing history.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was greatness. Watching Joe Mixon run for that first, second, third touchdown, tell the Cowboys they were too small as he stomped into the end zone again.
You see this face? This is his face right now.
Sir, America's team, a team that is has a slogan as America's team, does not let a single person score 3 touchdowns against them. So I'm sorry,
Stu, I got good news.
No longer America's team.
Good news, Stu. They scored 10 points, so this was like the first time in a while they scored more than single digits.
Yeah.
How about them Cowboys?
I hate my life. I hate my life. It's Scooter Magruder once said it, and I agree. I am literally going to have a shortened life because of this Cowboys team.
Well, Stu, don't let it get to you, man. I mean, the Texans absolutely took over AT&T Stadium, though.
Like the state you were born in has 2 teams you could cheer for.
I'm not rooting for the Texans. I'm sorry. They're still the redheaded stepchild of the NFL. I don't care. I don't care. But anyway, gentlemen, we're done with the Week 11 stocks, so we can start out with talking about the teams that have the bye this week. So the Arizona Cardinals, they had a bye. They're all done. Like I said, we're not going to change anything. They're 7. You gave them 6. We ended up with giving them the 7. And now we got the Carolina Panthers, who's still been cruising on the 2s after 2 wins so far in a row. So that is very Carolina Panthers right there. So we'll give them the double 2s. The Giants, unfortunately, are still the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion. And also, I guess we should probably discuss this week since even though they had to bye, Daniel Jones just got benched for Tommy DeVito. Do you guys have any thoughts about that?
No thoughts whatsoever. I mean, we pretty much saw it coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've been saying it since he got the extension, Stu. It was right up there with Dak's contract extension, am I right?
At least Dak is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. I'm just saying.
No, true, but I feel like Daniel Jones has more playoff wins, maybe. I don't know. Check up on that.
No. I got 2 playoff wins. Don't compare.
Dak has 2 wins. Who'd Dak beat in the playoffs?
We beat I'm trying to think. I think we beat 3 teams in the playoffs. I think 3.
I'm having a hard time remembering any Cowboys playoffs ones, too, but I'll believe you.
We beat Tom Brady. Tom Brady's last game was against the Cowboys when we beat them.
Well, there you go.
We beat them. I think we beat the Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson. Oh, God. I'm trying to remember. Did we did not beat the 49ers. We lost to the 49ers. That's another team that's traumatized me. And I can't remember. But I know it's 3.
Either way, that's more than Daniel Jones. I stand corrected, Stu. My apologies for disrespecting Dak.
Disrespecting Dak, Raymond, Dakota Prescott. How dare you? And now we got to talk about the Buccaneers. They still got to end in the 4s. they're stuck in the fours. Unfortunately, they get the fours of Norse. So it's not good for the Buccaneers. And now we get to talk about my favorite team, the Washington Commanders. Apparently, cannot beat the Philadelphia Eagles, losing to them, I believe, was 16-28 or 18-26.
Close, 26-18.
26-18.
Yeah,
Yes.
one profession game.
Yes, like I said, I'm a professional in these podcast streets and not an amateur. So I guess I'll start with myself. How do I feel about the Washington Commanders losing to another game? They would make the postseason, but they're dropping. It is so crazy. They went from literally controlling the NFC East to now the 7th seed in the division as of right now. Technically, they're 2 games behind, ahead of the number 8 seed. But I'm going to start with the first. They would be playing against the Philadelphia Eagles, unfortunately. And they kind of looked a little bit bad. They're holding up for the first half, and they kind of choked. So they're not beating the Eagles. I don't know if they can beat the Philly again, but I think for right now, since they are going to play against Philly, we've seen them play against Philly. They would be playing home against Philly. Unfortunately, I am going to give them 6 Angry Dan Snyders.
Yeah, I'll agree with you, Stu. We all gave them a 7 last week. Easy 6 for me. Because, like you said, Stu, they're up 2 games to the teams that are in 8th, 9th, and 10th, which are you got the Rams, you got the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers. That last touchdown by the Commanders was garbage time. 28 seconds left. So technically the final score was 26-10 if you don't count garbage times. Oh, do you guys know what an octopus is? An octopus in the NFL is when you get a touchdown, whether rushing or receiving, and then the team goes for 2, and you get the 2-point conversion. So Zach Ertz had the octopus on that Thursday night with that final touchdown, or that final garbage time touchdown. Jane Daniels, he still played. He still had a great game in my opinion. Yeah, minus the 1 interception, but when you're going up against a tough team like the Eagles at home in Lincoln Financial Field, yeah, easy 6 for the Commanders.
All righty. And now, Douglas, it is your turn. What is your thoughts about the Washington Commanders? Do you have hope that they can beat Philadelphia?
They'll get another chance at Philly here at home. That game might go differently, but from what we saw, give them a 6, Stu. Give them a 6. Mm-hmm. They're kind of slowly falling. There's some concerns on the defensive side. Teams maybe are starting to figure out Jaden Daniels. We'll see. It could be more about the Eagles' defense, but like Chris said, they only really had 10 points and some garbage time, so they're a 6. They should make the playoffs, but I'm losing faith that they'd make a deep run.
You're losing your faith in. Yeah, I kind of feel like I do agree, Douglas. I feel like the Commanders have been a little bit disappointing in this last couple weeks. Granted, they've done a lot better than I thought preseason, and we all agree. I don't think anyone thought Jaden Daniels was going to be a good quarterback, but I do feel like there's a little bit of a disappointment. Man, I thought this team was going to be better.
Oh, we should do a checkup on our preseason fantasy picks, the rookie draft class. So I think Chris, you got Jaden Daniels, right?
I did pick Jaden Daniels, and Stu picked Caleb Williams. I forgot who your quarterback was.
I got good old JJ sitting on the bench.
McCarthy.
JJ's in the bench, baby.
Yeah, what I should do, because
he hasn't played, right?
I have all those picks downstairs on a good piece of paper. I should enter them in, see if there's a website, maybe ESPN or Yahoo has it. Enter them in and see how many fantasy points they have. And see
that'd be fun.
It all up, based on the year to date, or I guess this season, how many fantasy points they have. So, yeah,
I'd be curious. Jaden Daniels should. I think he's still got to be the front runner for offensive player of the year in the NFC. Rookie player of the year.
Okay. I was gonna say Bo Nix, baby. He's been showing up.
Yeah, Bo Nix, I can definitely say. I think honestly, I'd probably put Bo Nix over Jaden Daniels.
I don't know about that.
For rookie of the year? For rookie of the year? What?
Yeah, Stu. Why would you say that?
Bo Nix has done a lot. Have you seen them play?
Stu, I think you're doing a thing called recency bias.
What?
If you look at the last game they played, sure, Bo Nix had a better game, but the better season is for sure Jaden.
I don't know.
Jaden Daniels, the Commanders started 7-2. They've lost 2 in a row. One of those losses was to the amazing team in the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they started the season 7-2.
They lost what at Baltimore? They lost at Baltimore and at Philadelphia. Like two solid playoff teams on the road. Like, I mean, Bo Nix is great. I'm not taking anything away from Bo Nix, but there's no way he's had a better year than Jaden did.
I'm just saying. I mean, hey, we can disagree in our opinions, but my opinion is still correct.
Well, if you look at pull up the stats then if you're going to disagree, because I think the stats would strongly favor Mr. Daniels as well. I think he's like QB. I think he's QB1 in fantasy for a lot of the year because he can run, he can pass. He has Jaden Daniels is going to be a superstar in the NFL for sure.
All right, we'll see how it goes. And now we got to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, who has disappointed me because they're actually being legitimately good. I am so disappointed as a Cowboys fan. Why do I live in a world where the Eagles are actually legit? Why? So we'll start with you, Christopher. Last week, we all gave the Eagles an 8. So
keep them at an 8. Easy pick. Keep them at 8. I mean, they dominated that game. Yeah, it was home court advantage or home field advantage, however you want to say it. But yeah, Saquon Barkley, man. Him and Derrick Henry, obviously the top 2 running backs in the league. And Saquon, I think I did the math the other day. I think he has 11 overall touchdowns on the season. He has two catching touchdowns. The other 9 are rushing. Could be, plus or minus 1 on that. But yeah, Saquon Barkley. If Derrick Henry wasn't in the league or on the Cowboys, Saquon would be the best running back in the league right now. So yeah, easy 8 for the Eagles. They would definitely, beat the Commanders. Then it would be either Cardinals, Packers, Vikings, Falcons, and I don't see a team in the NFC beating the Eagles besides, obviously the number 1 seed Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm grateful that Saquon dropped that one ball against the Falcons. Otherwise, we'd have a couple of 9-1 teams, man. The Eagles are a couple of plays away from being 9-1 as well. I mean, they're legit, man. I don't get the hate on Nick Sirianni. I mean, I think they're top 10 offensive and defensive. Like Chris just mentioned, I mean, Saquon's a beast. They have 2 elite receivers. They're built very similar to the recipe the Lions have as well, And they're a scary team, so hopefully Lions can secure home field and not have to go to Philly in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
yep, you're going to give them the 8 also. Continue with the 8. Yeah, I do kind of agree. I don't understand why the hate for Nick Sirianni. I know early in the season people wanted Nick Sirianni fired, and that's an Eagles fan. I mean, Eagles fans, I will admit, they have a little bit of that impatience where it's like, oh my goodness, this team's terrible. Fire everybody.
Well, Stu, maybe the Cowboys should get some of that. They should have fired Mike McCarthy last year.
Yeah.
I would have fired Mike McCarthy. I'm just saying, I never liked Mike McCarthy. I have the receipts. I talked to you 3 years ago and didn't like the Mike McCarthy hire, and I still don't like the Mike McCarthy hire.
Stu, there was a guy at the Cowboys game last night decked out in Eagles gear, and I was there for it.
That guy should have that should have been that. Honestly, he should have gotten a SWAT.
Well, I think there was pros because there was me in Lions gear, there was an Eagles guy, and then there was a 49ers guy. It's a good time.
That's awesome.
Okay.
We're having a good time.
Anyway, back to us talking about the Eagles. I feel like for the Philadelphia Eagles, they're looking legit. I think that it's probably going to be Eagles versus Lions. I still probably think the Lions are still a tad bit better than the Eagles, but I think honestly, I'm probably going to give them the 8 for right now. And I just can they just die? Eagles die. I don't want to live in a world. I'm sorry.
Biased here in this podcast.
I gotta give them I'm not happy with the Eagles being good. Okay, I wanted the funny.
Facts are facts.
Bad Eagles of last year. That was what I wanted, where they just fell apart and they got Matt Patricia as their offensive line. Why can I not live in this world? Why can I not have nice things?
Well, Stu, if you guys would have signed Saquon instead of the Eagles, maybe it'd be a role reversal.
Yeah, that is true. But nope. Jerry said it was too expensive. We could have had King Henry, and that would have been so much better. And now we got to talk about the Baltimore Ravens losing against the Pittsburgh Steelers 16-18, trying to go for 2 at the end, but missing and losing that game. So we're going to start with you, Douglas. What is your thoughts about the Baltimore Ravens? What did we give last week to the Ravens?
Man, I'm having a hard time with this team. Like, this is a team I've been high on all year, and then they keep just doing stuff like this. Like, you didn't give up a touchdown, and you still lost. Like, it's hard to keep defending them. Like, I get that they can be explosive. Like, me and you talked about them for a while on Sunday, Stu. I think we both came away with the same kind of impression of, like, man, oh man, like, it just feels like a team that's going to choke in the playoffs again. It's you have the highest of highs. You beat Buffalo by 25, and then you lose to the Browns. You don't give up a touchdown to the Steelers, and you lose. Like, you're losing all the games that are important to you. And, like, I'm losing all my confidence in this team. I mean, I'm now sitting here like, are they the 5th best team in the AFC? Like, this Monday night game, Ravens versus Chargers, could be huge. Like,
Yeah.
this could be a huge for pecking order, the Har Bowl. Like, dude, if the Ravens could easily lose this and be sitting there at 7-5, man.
And
I'm
honestly,
like,
they're in the Bailey's. So as of right now, they would play in the theoretical game against the Steelers, ironically.
yeah, and I mean, they just lost that game. I mean, they'll get another crack, but same thing with the Commanders. We got to give them a 6. I mean, this is a team that I like. Like, I would like to see them do well, but they got to be consistent, man. Like, you can't keep putting up these duds and say that Lamar's the MVP, losing to the Browns and losing when your defense only gives up 18 points.
Yeah.
They got the game they should have won.
Yeah, this is the game that they should have won. And, I know that, we talked about the Chiefs. And, like, granted, we'll get to the Chiefs in discussion right now. And I know you had your problems with the Chiefs this season. But this is how I deal with the Baltimore Ravens right now, where it's like you have a good win, and then you have these, like, choky losses. Like, why did you choke against a garbage Browns team? Why did you choke against the Steelers? It's just like you went 0-2 the first week. It's just like it's just been so inconsistent, and it's been so frustrating, I feel like, with the Baltimore Ravens right now. I still feel like that they're probably 6. I honestly don't think they're going to make it past. If they still can be inconsistent like that, I think they're going to be a 6. I think they're going to be one and done in the playoffs.
Ooh.
I'm honestly have a feeling that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be one and done. Now it's time for you, Christopher. Your favorite team that's not the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens. What's your thoughts?
So, yeah, Doug, that's impressive. You went from an 8 to a 6. Stuart, obviously, went from a 7 to a 6. Understandable. Just something about the Ravens. I don't. If the playoffs started today, I think they would actually win in Pittsburgh. I know
What?
winning in Pittsburgh is a tough thing to do. But if you look at it, how did the Steelers score all their points? Every single one of them. It was a kick by Mr. Chris Boswell. He had 6 field goals, and that's what won them the game. Yeah, that's looking at it. That's impressive that the Steelers could drive down and let him kick field goals. But on the flip side, it's also impressive that the Ravens held the Steelers to not scoring a single TD. At the end of the day, a win is a win, a loss is a loss. And I hate to say it because I don't want to blame anyone on the loss, but man, if Justin Tucker, kicker for the Ravens, did not miss that one field goal, final score of the game, 19-18 right there. But at the end of the day, loss is a loss, win is a win. Oh, man. I want to put him at a 6, but I want to put him at a 7 because I feel like if they rematched in Baltimore in the middle of January, rematch in Pittsburgh, middle of January, it might be snowing, might be some different elements.
Sam, and I kind of agree with you, but also, like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, Pittsburgh knows how to win these types of games. Like, that's what's fun about Pittsburgh. Is like every week we're like, man, they stunk, but they're sitting there 8-2. Clearly one of like a great team in some capacity.
Yeah, like you said, they're 8-2. They're one of 3 teams in the AFC with only 2 losses. So
yeah. And look at all these like warning sign losses. Went 0-2. They lost to the Raiders at one point. They lost to the Browns. Teams that are in the 2s.
Yeah, just because they know how to play, the Steelers know how to play and know how to beat teams down to the grit. I'm going to put the Ravens at a 6. I'll agree with you guys because,
Whoa! We bullied Chris to get the 6.
I don't know about bullying, but like looking at it, like I said, if playoffs come January, if it's snowing in Pittsburgh, you better know that the Steelers going to come to win against the Ravens. And Derrick Henry, he's a beast, but man, if it's cold, It's gonna be a fight to win. It's gonna be a bunch of field goals. And if Justin Tucker, he might be out of his prime now. Chris Boswell might be the man to beat.
Well, like I don't think we truly appreciate how much of a game wrecker TJ Watt is, man. Like that dude just blows up game after game, like in the clutch. Like whenever they need a play, man, TJ Watt just makes it. It's unbelievable.
TJ Watt's legit. Like honestly, like literally, this Steelers defense is like nasty in like a danger way. Like I would be scared to play against the Steelers defense. I mean, what do you think, Douglas? Would you be scared to play against the Steelers defense?
I mean, me personally, yeah, man. Like, I don't want to get hit by TJ Watt, but
yeah.
I mean, the Lions are playing against the Steelers.
Any person with the last name of Watt, I don't want to be in a room with them alone.
But I mean, obviously, there's some nervousness. I mean, I'm just going to be like, I think the Lions have like one of the best duos of offensive and defensive coordinators. Like, I just think that the Lions' run game and Penei Sewell is just so unbelievable of a right tackle that I think that he could block TJ Watt and win more matchups than he loses. So, like, scared isn't the right word. Like, nervous, of course, but, like, we wouldn't never have to play in Pittsburgh. I mean, if we play them, it'll probably be in New Orleans where the Super Bowl is. And you give us a dome with our offense, Stu, I would take the Lions' offense over the Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
100% right there. Now it is time for we're back to, I believe it's me again. My thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And oh my goodness, the power of the Iron City beer and Permane brothers hoisting them to another win against the Ravens. How do I feel about the Pittsburgh? They're looking good. I honestly think that this team I still repeating this over and over again, and you're probably going to get annoyed with me for saying this. Tomlin should get coach of the year. Still, he has revitalized Russell Wilson's career. We thought Russell Wilson was washed.
Well, I mean, is Russell Wilson doing all that much? like they didn't score a single
touchdown.
Yeah, like they didn't even score a touchdown, Stu. So like,
look at that. There's been.
They were winning with Justin Fields. So like, I mean, I get what you're trying to say, but like, did he revitalize like coach of the year? Sure, but revitalize Russell Wilson's career? I don't think so.
The Denver Broncos, he was bad in Denver.
I mean, that's true, but has he been great in Pittsburgh? Like he's played like 3 games, they just had no touchdowns.
Okay, then maybe we should get Justin Fields. They got 2 good.
I'm pretty sure the Ravens were like dead last in like passing yards per game, like fantasy points given up to receivers, and they didn't do anything. Like they didn't score a touchdown against a really not that great defense.
Well, you know what? That's why I'm still feeling so strong with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm still feeling the 7. I feel like, granted, I don't think they could beat the Bills or the Chiefs. I don't think either one of those, but they look legit. I think they still look like they could win a playoff game, and they're improving. I can't be hating on them. Like I said, they did everything that I complained about that they didn't do, that they thought they were not going to do on preseason, and they did everything, and it's working out for them. So, Tomlin, coach of the year. Enough said. All right, Chris. Well, now we got to talk about your third favorite team right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's your thoughts about the Iron?
Easy 7. I mean, like we all said, if the playoffs started today, it'd be the Ravens visiting Pittsburgh again, and we all said the Ravens would lose. So by default, Steelers winning. Now, if things change up for next week, and for some reason Steelers versus Bills matchup, then I don't know if I would be able to have the Steelers at a 7. But we're not there. We're here right now. So yeah, easy for 7. Because the Steelers. Who do the Steelers even play next week?
They play the Brownies on Thursday night, baby.
Thursday night in Cleveland, baby.
Are you gonna go to?
The Steelers? Let's weld.
Are you going to go to Cleveland to watch this Browns versus Steelers game? Are you going?
I would be tailgating, but I have some plans that have already been pre-scheduled, so I will not be tailgating. So either I'm going to be watching the game at the bar, my house, or I don't know. It might be a bloodbath, so we'll see. It's
gonna
supposed to be raining Thursday in Cleveland, so it might be a bloodbath and a mudbath.
Oh my God, it's gonna be such a great game.
Just a hot take. I think this is the type of game that the Browns might actually win.
Like we beat the Ravens, we're gonna be the top two teams in the AFC record-wise.
This is what the Browns do. I mean, they go and they get destroyed by Taysom Hill and the Saints, and then they beat the Steelers. Like, it's the most Browns thing to do. But the Steelers, I mean, like you guys have said, obvious 7. It's kind of a travesty. They're the only 2-loss or less team that's not an 8. But I mean, you just know that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, you have a feeling that those teams would be able to beat the Steelers team still.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I still feel confident on that one. And like I said, this is probably one of the few that we actually did keep the same score besides them and the Philadelphia Eagles. We still kept it from last week. We gave them all 7s, and we're continuing with the tradition of giving Iron City Steelers the 7s. And now we got the Jacksonville Jaguars playing such a close and good game. And good game, I mean, my God, this was the worst game I've ever seen this week. This was an absolute travesty. I honestly did not care once we got to the second half. Against the Detroit Lions and losing badly, 6-52. And we're going to start with you, Christopher. What is your thoughts on the Jags?
I mean, we all gave the Jags a 1 last week, so we can keep it short and simple for the sake of time. Easy 1 for the Jags.
Did we give the Jags a 1?
Yeah, we all gave them a 1. We all nasty agreed on that.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in the Giants. I mean, same. I mean, there's not much to say. This team's rough. No Trevor Lawrence. They're in full rebuild mode.
Yes.
Holy guacamole, is this team rough? Or are they 2-9? Something ridiculous.
Yeah,
2-9 right now. They're technically worse than the Cowboys. Or I'm sorry. They're worse than the Cowboys, but technically they're worse than the Giants because the Giants are 2-8. So Jaguars at the moment have the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, nice easy 1. I mean, you lose by 46. They're outgained by 500 yards. Not much really positive to say about any aspect of this game for the Jaguars.
This team, the Lions put their backup, and his first drive he got a touchdown.
Well, so I mean, the Lions are historically good right now. I mean, their first 7 drives, they've had 2 games where they didn't even punt the ball once.
It's crazy. Oh my goodness.
I mean, the Lions offensive coordinator. Yeah.
Honestly, the punter should just, sit next to Aiden Hutchinson and at the press box and just did nothing. Because this is what he just did. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised that Doug Peterson still has a job today. That's what I'll say about the Jaguars.
This should be a good question, and I'm going to continue giving them the 1. Because this team is trash. You lost. I know the Lions are good. Don't get me wrong. Detroit's really good. I do think they're going to make the Super Bowl. They could definitely. Is it crazy to think that the Lions could make the Super Bowl? But honestly, I think this also says the Jacksonville Jaguars have been an absolute disaster of an organization. Honestly, who's the biggest disaster of an organization right now? Them or the New York Jets?
At the moment,
Cleveland Browns.
I mean, the Browns could definitely be there. You could say the Cowboys, but I mean, at a certain point, the Cowboys Dak did get hurt. So I would not.
Well, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is hurt too. So if we want to play the hurt card, sure, we can do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. But he wasn't even. Well, that's true. But he wasn't even good when he was still playing. And
I mean, didn't they have Dak? Wait, did the Cowboys have Dak when they lost 47-9 to the Lions?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay. I thought so. So that was in Dallas, right, where they lost by 40 points at home to the Lions as well. So, we can't really say that they're. I don't know if the Cowboys didn't beat the Steelers. I would say that the Cowboys might be a 1.
All right, fine. Okay, the Cowboys are probably still on a 1, but I would say, okay, out of those 4 teams, who is the biggest dumpster fire right now?
I mean, I think the team that has the longest road to true contention again is probably this Jacksonville team. There's not a lot of I don't know. They have Trevor Lawrence though, theoretically.
I was about to say that they have some great young talent. Trevor Lawrence, he's still young. Once he gets healthy, Brian Thomas, he's a rookie. He's having a heck of a year. Travis Etienne, he's still young. Well, I think he's his third or fourth year in the league. So if they can regroup themselves for next year, because obviously let's be honest, their season's over 2-9.
Yeah.
They got some young talent.
I mean, anytime that you're restarting at quarterback, like the Giants, that they're restarting, but they also have Malik Neighbors, who's been unreal this year, even with terrible quarterback play, which makes it even that much more impressive.
Yeah, and also I will say it does look bad when Shai Khan said that this is probably the best Jacksonville Jaguars team he has ever seen in his entire ownership. It's like, oh, during preseason, that's not good. That's not good.
I mean, from preseason expectations to now, like the Jaguars and Cowboys are both equally up there. Like we never expect anything out of the Giants, but like we all picked those two teams to make the playoffs. The Jets are up there as well, but you didn't pick the Jets to make the playoffs. But most people did, and they had the same thing with their owners, like, we're the best team in my ownership, and then they're 3-8.
More like the worst team in your ownership.
Yeah, man. What's up with New York? Like, good grief.
It is, and I'm just gonna tell you, like, all the New York media has just been carrying on these players right now. Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, they've been like eviscerated. Like, I will tell you this: if you don't play good, the New York media will chew you up and spit you out on that one.
Well, it's not even about chewing up and spitting out. It's like at this point they're rightfully so. Like, it's not like it's in Philly where they're sitting there with a team that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Like, get this guy out of here. They're sitting there with horrendous underachieving teams.
Yeah.
So like I respect it.
I respect it. And now we got to talk to you, Douglas, because like I said, you're a Detroit Lions fan. And like I said, this was the worst. This was absolutely the worst game. Probably you enjoyed this game, but honestly, it was the worst game of the week. But we'll start with you, Douglas. What is your thoughts about the Detroit Lions? And let's be honest, we're all going to give them 9s. So we'll start with you.
I mean, throw me down for a 9, but it's the thing that I like. So this team, honestly, and this is going to be they feel a lot like Michigan's team last year to me. And like the fact of you just have so much confidence in the coaching staff. Like 2 weeks ago when they were playing at Houston, they were down 10. We had people in our group chat like, oh man, the Lions lost. And I was just like sitting there like, no, dude, they're winning this game. Down 10 points. I had such confidence that they would somehow still win that game, and they did. And then like to come out this week and then just look like hit on all cylinders again. Like the coaching staff does an unbelievable job at adjustments, game planning. Like they're putting players in amazing spots. Like you can just tell they're so detail oriented, and like Dan Campbell said that they might be one of the best offenses of all time. And they have a legitimate chance at breaking the all-time scoring record. I mean, granted, it'll be a little bit tough, and they'll get an extra game to do so. But like just seeing, like even no Aiden Hutchinson, like they have 2 of the best safeties in the league on defense. Like they're just shutting teams down on defense. They have arguably the best kicker other than maybe the guy in Dallas, Aubrey. Like Jake Bates, like their special teams, they have the best punter in the league. They have arguably the best kicker. They have 2 of the best safeties. Like there's no weakness right now. Like they can beat you all 3 phases. Like that Tennessee game, they scored an offensive, special teams, defensive touchdown. This game, like they can kick 55-yard field goals, no problem. Their defense is amazing. Jared Goff had like 400 plus yards, 4 touchdowns. Like they're just a team that even if like the offense was 5 interceptions, the defense holds you in the game. Or even if like those are often like they can still kick field goals at an amazing rate. Like they're an incredibly hard team to beat. Like they've done an amazing job at building this roster. I mean, I think they have to be Super Bowl favorites. Like they're just, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a hard team to beat. Like I don't know how you would game plan to beat a team that can run the ball. Like they could beat you outdoors. They've done it in Lambeau Field. They can beat you passing and throwing for 400 yards. They're like the first team, I think, since like the 2001 Rams, where like they're so balanced in offense and defense, or on running and passing. It's like they have 18 rushing touchdowns, and like Goff has like 18 passing touchdowns. Like they can just they're just unbelievably balanced across all 3 fields, playing complementary football. I could go for days on like how like they're like if they wouldn't have lost the Buccaneers, man, this team might make history. Like they are just unbelievable right now.
And it's such a shame that the Buccaneers got so injured because I think it would have been interesting to have the Lions versus the prime Buccaneers. Like, who would win that game now? It'd be so interesting.
I think the Lions. I mean, the Lions went one for. I was just reading today. They went 1 for 7 in the red zone on that game on touchdowns, and that was like their worst in like 40 years. So it's like the Lions aren't going 1 for 7 again with how creative they are. So it's like I mean, obviously if those teams played again, the Lions would be big favorites. But like I agree, though, it'd be fun to see. Like you hate to see a team get banged up like the Buccaneers, but
Yeah. And I will always, and I know we talked about it on Sunday, Douglas, and I'm going to repeat this in this podcast. If the Lions win their first Super Bowl, are you shedding a tear?
well, Stu, I'll keep my answer the same. Since I'm watching it with a bunch of my bros on a ski trip, no, I don't think so.
You guys all better be crying.
Would any of our friends shed a tear if they win? If they hold?
Stu, I think we're all gonna cry and stand in a circle and jump in circles and cry about it.
Yes,
we're gonna hold hands down the ski slopes, just crying.
Yeah. Anyway, the Lions look legit. They just look really good. I honestly don't think they will lose another game unless they sit out all their players.
I mean, they got to play the Bills still, so like that's going to be a heck of a ball game. They have to still play Minnesota, Green Bay. Like they're definitely not.
I'll be honest with you. I think Minnesota looks a lot more like sussy right now, and I'm not really been impressed with Minnesota. I think they're going to win against that, in my opinion.
We'll see if the 49ers can actually bounce back here because that's looks like that's a Sunday night game or maybe Monday night on December 30th in San Francisco.
Yeah, that'll be a big time game too. I forgot that at San Francisco, they still play Buffalo. Like they still have a really hard schedule. So I mean, there's probably going to be another loss in there somewhere. But like, man, oh man, like even if they lose, you just know this is the type of team that's so motivated and just keeps getting better.
I mean, Dan Campbell could literally tell these men, go to that brick wall, and then they would all say, "How many do we need, coach?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's be honest. And it's so, and like I said, they love him. They respect him in Detroit.
Like, well, and you know what I like, Stu? I like the fact that I was reading something like, man, oh man, like why is Dan Campbell like so angry? Because like even when they're dominating, he's still like just so focused. Like, man, they're mad that they almost lost to Houston, so they had to run it up on poor Jackson.
Yeah, but hey,
it's a close game after the first quarter, guys. Let's run this ish up.
But look at
do you guys know what scoregami is?
Yes, I know about the scoregami. Yes, I actually watched
the scoregami is when there's never been a score ever in the history of the NFL. They do it for other, NBA, NHL. Well, I don't know if they do it for NHL because it's low scoring. But yeah, score stuff like so. A score that's never happened. And this Lions Jaguars game, 52-6. It's a score that's never happened. So it's always fun when a scoregami happens.
Woohoo! We got a scoregami.
Wild to me, Stu. Didn't we looked at this on Sunday, and I think a score of 2-0 has happened before this score. That's wild.
Oh my god! Can you imagine watching that game and you just be like, "This is the worst football game I've ever seen in my entire life." Like I would literally just go. I'd just say both teams deserve a loss after that game. But
easy to keep me at a 9 for the Lions. They had 645 yards of offense. Like Doug said, their passing and rushing offense are amazing, neck and neck. Because you have David Montgomery, who had 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had 1. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had 2 touchdowns. Williamson had 1. So that's neck and neck right there. On the season, Lions have 22 passing touchdowns, 18 rushing touchdowns, and 41 touchdowns overall. And that's only through 10 weeks. If your team has 41 touchdowns through 10 weeks, that's amazing. So I wish we could put the Lions at a 10, but for the sake of the podcast, a 9 right now.
No, my goodness. Unfortunately, we did not have no return of the Mac, unfortunately. And now, well, Mac Jones was playing for the Jaguars, so no return of the Mac.
You know, funny, just this weekend, I saw a Mac Jones when he was in the Pro Bowl doing the gritty. And I was like, I forgot that dude even made the Pro Bowl.
Oh, yeah, they had that one fluky year where they made the postseason and then they got curb stomped by the Bills by years of torment.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got another game, which is basically the greatest game right now. Rammies versus the Patriots. So we'll start with me. What is my thoughts on the Patriots? Still not doing hot. They got close, They lost. They're now 3-8. Drake May looked okay, but I mean, this team's not that good. I mean,
We all gave the Patriots a 2 last week. So where do they go from here?
honestly, they're not the worst 2, but I still feel like they're probably a 2 for right now. I mean, like 3-8. This team's not doing good. We'll see how they do next year, but I think the season's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they didn't pull out a win last week, they'd be a 1. But yeah, there's a few teams that only have 2 wins on the season, and they're definitely the ones. Patriots aren't a 1 at the moment. I mean, Drake May, he had a great game. 75% passing, almost 300 yards, two touchdowns. It's just when
it was against the Rams. I'm just
and it was at home. It was in Gillette Stadium. But yeah, the Rams are in playoff contention. They're in the hunt for it. So Rams going into that game probably like, okay, should be an easy, well, not by easy win, but should be a win right here. So they went into the game with the right mentality. So yeah, keep you at a 2 for the Pats from New England.
All righty, Douglas. What is your thoughts on the New England Patriots? Are you going to raise them up to the 10? Wait a minute. This is not Brady and Belichick. Sorry. This is the same old Patriots. Crappy Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, Drake May definitely has given me a reason for hope for the future, but the future is not right now, is it? They're a solid 2. I mean, y'all nailed it. Drake May is looking good. He's looking like, man, like he's looking legit. Like years future, Drake May is going to be pushing, but like, I mean, obviously they're not in any way. I mean, they're what 5 games behind Buffalo in that division. Like, no hope, but like, I don't know. I like what they got with Drake May.
It is so funny to think about that whole division where it's literally like Buffalo, where they're like 9-2, and then you got like the Dolphins that are like 4-6.
Oh, Stu, by the way, I just thought of this. I disagree with your Tomlin take for Coach of the Year.
Ooh,
What?
here we go.
I would take Sean McDermott.
Oh,
I'm too casual. Who does he coach?
The Bills.
Ah,
Everybody thought the Bills would take a step back, and you know what they've done, Stu? They've had their best record through 11 games. You get rid of a lot of good players, and you're better. Like
but
Josh Allen's playing his best football.
But it is Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's maybe like carrying this team on his back. I mean, granted, Sean McDermott has been a good coach, but like Tomlin, I don't think anyone thought that Justin Fields or Russell Wilson was going to have a winning record.
I disagree, Stu. I said all along that the Bears should have kept Justin Fields. So as someone that thought that the Bears messed up by taking Caleb Williams from the beginning, I disagree with your take again. I thought Justin Fields was a solid quarterback, and I don't know. I think if he was on the Bears, I think the Bears would be better this year than they are with Caleb Williams. That's my other hot take. But
yeah, unfortunately.
The Russell Wilson one, I will give you that. I kind of thought Russell Wilson was washed, but
hey, I'm just saying. Who's right?
Well, I'm saying I would take Sean McDermott, though. I wonder what
it is so funny that we were like literally having an argument.
I'm going to look up
a better coach. No, this guy's a better coach.
I'm going to look up Coach of the Year betting odds for you, Stu.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Campbell on the Coach of the Year because I just feel like the team is also like still legit. You know what I mean? I think a Coach of the Year, in my opinion, is like a team that's like you didn't expect to do that great. In my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Doug's frozen.
Oh,
Should
no.
we move on to the Rams, Mr. Stu?
No, look at the face. Look at the face. The face of disappointment.
Sorry. Oddly enough, I mean,
I was going to do a joke about like, oh, your face is just disappointed, just like Tom.
So, Stu, oddly, I don't know if these are up to date, but the current like betting favorite is Dan Quinn for Coach of the Year.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he took a team that we all thought would be like a 1 or a 2 and has them in solid playoff contention, so that's also fair.
Okay, that's also fair.
Who's Dan Quinn? Who's he coaching?
Oh, he's the Commanders coach, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I don't think any of us really had the Commanders in playoff hunt.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess we'll start about the Rams because then the Rammies are ramming it.
All right, we all gave the Rams a 4 last week, and they're in the hunt for the playoff.
They're in the hunt. They're hunting down. They're going.
But so is every other team in that division for the NFC West.
But they are now 5-5. They have
I'm sorry.
5.
I just said NFC West.
So, granted, okay, we're going to start with the Rams. They did win barely against the Patriots. Granted, I'll give you that. Stafford's looking okay. I mean, granted, this team is like injured to hell and back, but they're still chugging along.
They're not injured anymore, Stu. Here comes Kupp, here comes Nakua, and here comes Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Right, and they have that Jared Verse who's looking like potential defensive rookie of the year. Man, he's lighting up.
Yeah, Puka Nakula's doing good.
Well, I mean, yeah, they have one of the scarier teams to play. I mean, you got Puka, you got Cooper, and then you also got Kyron Williams. You have Stafford, who's won a Super Bowl. You got Sean McVay, who can, get creative. And they're definitely not a team I'd want to see in January, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think for that reason, that's why I'm going to give them the 5. I think they're still in that solid 8. I think this team is still, like, you know what? They're a couple games behind to, like, Washington, and they could sneak in and maybe take out Washington for them to make the postseason. So we'll see how it goes. And now it's time for you, Christopher. What is your thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, we all gave them a 4 last week. I would bump them up to a 6, but the Rams next week they play. It's at home, but it's against the Eagles.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple. The 49ers play the Packers. 49ers might lose that game. And then there's a tough divisional game, Cardinals in Seattle. So after next week's game, the Cardinals might take full reign of that first place, which will only be a 2-game lead because that NFC West it's tight. I'm not saying it's not pretty, but it's tight. So yeah, from a 4 to a 5 because like I said, Nakua's back, couple 2 touchdowns on Sunday, and Stafford with 4 touchdowns total. He really spread the ball across the board there. So yeah, Rams are looking good.
All right, Douglas.
You guys both gave them a 5. They're 5-5 on the season. Give me a 9. Just kidding.
Super Bowl. Super Bowl Rams versus Lions in the NFC Championship.
But no, they're a solid 5. I mean, that NFC West, it's going to be fun because it's like all the teams are like around 500, but they're all teams that I kind of like think could get really hot. Like that's probably my favorite divisional race right now. Because you're looking at the Rams, and then the Seahawks with that big win, the Cardinals sitting at first at 6-4, Kyler Murray looking like a potential MVP candidate. You're waiting for the 49ers to get going. I don't know, man. And then you have the, not too long ago Super Bowl champs getting healthy. This division is going to be fun down the stretch for sure.
Oh, my God. This division is always going to be fun. And you know what I'm speaking about fun? Your Cleveland Browns right now, who did so well against the Saints, losing to them 21 points, 14-35. We'll start with you, Theodore.
I mean, there's not much to say. Last week we all gave the Browns, I don't know about we all, but last week I gave them a 1. You guys gave them a 2, respectfully. I can't stray away from a 1, even though we already have our Giants had a 1, the Jags a 1. Give them a 1 because they can't improve to a 2. It was cool. The game was tight. The game was tight at the end of the third quarter, 14-14. Yeah, man. Like you mentioned earlier, Stu, Taysom Hill's still running through my nightmares, and that's gonna be a continuation for the Browns season. The Browns might have a crazy game, pull-out victory on Thursday night at home against the Steelers, but I don't want to hold my breath for that one.
All right, Douglas. Another Brownie. How do you feel about these great Cleveland Browns who've been so good this season? Said no one.
Well, how many wins do they have on the year?
We are 2-8.
2 wins.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Give me a 2.
Yeah.
I can't make them a 1 just because I think that they're still better than the Giants and the Jaguars. But there's not. I don't know, man. It's rough. There's not too much. I don't know. I don't know what your answer is. You got to kind of rebuild almost.
I think they're doomed. They're doomed at this point.
I mean, they're probably going into rebuild mode. You don't really have a long-term answer at quarterback. Myles Garrett is amazing, but he's almost 30. So it's is he a part of your long-term plan? What is the plan in Cleveland? Because right now you're kind of between phases, and
the only plan we have is moving our stadium from Lakeside more inland to the city of Brook Park, Ohio, and getting a dome in the next 5 years.
I don't like it, man. I for some reason I like the Brown Stadium right on the water.
I like the Brown Stadium. I know, and
Tundra.
Yeah, and I know everybody complained about that stadium even when it was built.
Well, I like it though. Something fun about like Lambeau, Soldier Field, like whatever the Cleveland calls their field. Like it's not quite as iconic, but I mean I don't know. Like I wish the Lions kind of played outdoors. Sometimes it's fun, but hey, whatever. Dome teams are fun too.
Hey, I always say it. They should just put a giant toilet bowl because this is what the Browns are heading towards.
Well, the scapegoat they have in Columbus just haven't moved to Columbus, too.
Yeah, you want to be the Columbus Browns?
Does kind of look like a toilet. Even though the team that plays there is not worthy of going into a toilet.
No, man, they're looking good. I'm excited for college football, too. I wish the Wolverines were in the talk, but man, oh man, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to be fun down the finish here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun when we get to also, ladies and gentlemen, we might be doing a podcast about college football. Woohoo!
Yeah. I think we should, man. It's heating up. Like the state of Pennsylvania has a lot to be excited about between Pittsburgh, Philly, and Penn State. Good for them.
But Penn State's probably going to lose a game, let's be honest.
I mean, they might. I low-key think Indiana's going to beat Ohio State this weekend. I might be off on that, but there's something special about this Indiana team. I mean, leading the nation in scoring, but it's in the horseshoe, so that should be a fun one, dude.
Dude, huge game Saturday. Cannot wait for noon.
And also, I guess it's my turn about the Cleveland. I'm sorry. I had to miss.
Yeah, sir. Come on, spell it correctly. The Cleveland Clowns over here.
Yeah, Cleveland Clowns
with a capital L for all the losses.
Yes. Just do that. Cleveland Clowns, because this team is just a clown show. And you know what? I think what's going to happen, Jimmy Haslam's going to decide, you know what? I paid so much money for Deshaun. Deshaun should be the quarterback for next year.
Well, I mean, of course that's what's going to happen. That's not even an opinion or like something that could be debated about. Like this guy spent $230 million. He's not going to go down like a buffoon and be like, oh, yeah, we're going to bench him. No, Deshaun, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be our star next year, which is –
Is there any way that they can get out of his contract? Like, is there a possibility that they can?
We could trade him, but then another team would have to soak up his money, his guaranteed money, or we could trade him away, soak up some of that money, and hopefully another team will soak up some of that guaranteed money as well. But man, I think we have 2 years left on his contract. So,
here's what
at this point, it's not even worth it to try it. Well, it's definitely worth it to try to trade him away, but we're definitely not getting good draft picks. I mean, the entire NFL is seeing what Deshaun Watson cannot do. And that's
if anything, you guys have to send a draft pick to another team to eat that contract.
Exactly. We're taking our first round pick so you can take
Aren't you happy that you made the Texans actually look better now? Aren't you happy?
Sure, aren't you happy because you have another Texas team to root for?
No, I'm not rooting for the redheaded stepchild of Texas. I don't care.
Stu, I just thought of a new name for Dallas's team, the Clown Boys. You can just double up on the clown.
How dare you?
Couple of clowns.
They're getting a cowgirls. You know what? I hate all of you. You know what? The Browns gonna Browns. Juju Smith-Schuster was right. The Browns still gonna Browns, even after they were doing good. They're just back to the same old Browns.
The Cowboys cheerleaders put on a better show than the actual Cowboy team.
That's true. That was like one of the only things I could see on the stadium, and I was like, okay, at least we got something to look
at.
How dare all of you? You know what? This is why the Cleveland. I just. Why you got?
I say we digress. The New Orleans Saints make this righteous and holy.
Yes, it's all holy. We'll start with you, Douglas. As the Father and the Son and the Saint Spirit, they somehow won a game. And are now 4-7 now. This is crazy to think that the New Orleans Saints are doing okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know.
We all gave them a 2 last week. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they still feel like a 2. It's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I think I'll give them a 3. I'll give them some respect. I mean, they won a game. They won it by multiple possessions. But yeah, I mean, the Derek Carr experiment hasn't really worked out for them. I mean, Stu, me and you have been the same kind of opinion on Derek Carr that like he's pretty mid, and I mean he's kind of shown that like he hasn't. I don't know. I think that they're a team that I'm not really excited about.
It is so crazy to think, Douglas, and it's my turn right now. Yeah, I went from like Derek Carr was mid preseason, and I never really been like excited or thought he was a good quarterback to then, Derek Carr might be a good quarterback to then Derek Carr's injured to then, Derek Carr's maybe back to the mid again. Granted, they did beat the Browns by 21. That's at least good. I think this team's kind of mid. I think they're just. I feel like there's like a 3 for right now. I'm just like not really been impressed with the Saints. I feel like
Derek Carr is like, and this is gonna sound weird, but he's like kind of part of the QB problem. Like there was somebody on a podcast, one of like a really good former NFL player, I forget who, but talking about the QB problem and how like mid QBs get overpaid. And I feel like Derek Carr is like a perfect example where it's like all he did was like average, maybe make the playoff football, and he got a huge payday. It's like, why are we giving them? But then what's the alternative? Like you look at Las Vegas, they get rid of him, and it's only gotten worse. Like now they still don't have a quarterback. Like franchise quarterbacks are hard to find, but man, oh man, it's rough to pay when you pay somebody that's not good, like Deshaun or Derek Carr, a ton of money for, really bad, like bottom of the league performances.
Yeah, that's why Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are good. Because like I said, Patrick Mahomes is like, yeah, I'll take a pay cut because I'm going to get paid more and buy endorsements and I'm going to get the rings.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Chiefs win Super Bowls and everyone else are chumps. I'm just saying. As of right now. But now let's start with you, Christopher. What is your thoughts about the New Orleans?
All right, we'll finish with me here. Saints, we all gave them a 2 last week. Easy to go agree with you guys with a 3. I was contemplating a 4, but out of the NFC South, there's only going to be more than likely only one team making the playoffs. Falcons, they're on a bye next. The Falcons and the Saints are on a bye next week. Buccaneers, they should have an easy win against the Giants. Yeah, it's in East Rutherford, New Jersey. But man, just because you win 2, actually, the Saints' new head coach is 2-0 in the last 2 games. So but we'll see. We'll see what happens when the Saints come back from their bye week to see if they're actually worthy of a 4. Because they're playing like a 3. You play the 2 overall, the Browns. So at home, it should be an easy whooping, and it absolutely was.
Yes, look at that. And the Saints are still marching in. And now we're going to talk about termination, unemployment line. I cannot believe that we've been in this tough economy, that we increased the unemployment line, that the Jets GM just got terminated from his job right now, gentlemen, and losing 28-27 to the Colts. They 1 point had the lead, and they blew this lead. So we're going to start with myself. My God.
Before we do start, Stu, you took the Colts last week, and Doug took the Jets?
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Money.
Stu took the Colts, and
Doug took the Colts. I'm not giving you any money, Stu. I'm not going to be giving you any money because that was not the bet. Okay? I'm going to be buying you a drink at the bar.
Yeah, it's an $8 cold beer.
Oh, I got
nothing more, nothing less.
It's going to be good.
That's $8 on the dime.
Yeah, if it's more than $8, Stu, I ain't doing it. We'll go to the We'll go back to the Diamondback Saloon if we got to.
I got a nice. We're gonna get an Alaskan Amber at my nice bar at Cirque.
It's like Stuart already knows the price of an Alaskan Amber for some reason.
Yes, I do. That does not make me look like an alcoholic. That I know the price, but anyway. We're going to start with the JETX, Jets, who somehow should be called the SUCK sucks, because they're just oh my God. Didn't we last week we gave them a 3? The Jets?
All of us gave them a 2 last week.
Oh, this should still be a 2. This team is garbage. Like, oh my God. Like, for 3, this is probably like, who is a worser team right now? Who's the worst team? The Jets right now or the Cowboys?
I think the Jets would beat the Cowboys fairly easily.
Yeah, I would agree with that because the Jets still have their starting quarterback.
Okay, all right. If Dak was still in, who would win the game?
The Jets.
We're not talking about that.
Still the Jets.
Sure, let's not talk about the Cowboys.
All right, but I just think the Jets are just awful.
Well, to be fair, Stu, they had the lead in this game. If the freaking Colts didn't listen to me and my great advice of putting Anthony Richardson back in, I'd be 1 beer richer, okay? But Richardson had a great drive to win the game.
Yes. You got to believe in the greatness of Anthony Richardson. How dare you disagree with the greatness of
So something I was reading about on the Jets today, too, is just how unbelievably bad they are at situational football. it's like they've had lots of chances. Like granted, they've had some games like get kind of blown out, but like this is a game they should have won. But like they just never seem to make the right play at the right time. Like Rodgers, who used to be so reliable in those moments, has become like you kind of almost expect them to find a way to lose. And that's what happened again here.
I mean, if I'm looking at their last 5 games, I mean, they did beat the Texans by 8, but this is an injured Texans. Lost to the Cardinals by 24. Lost to the Patriots by 3. Lost to the Steelers by 12. No, actually 22. Then you lost to the Bills. Vikings by 7. You lost to the Broncos by 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth. So
they're bad.
They're bad. Like, honestly, and I guess we should ask, gentlemen, what's your thoughts about them? Also, this is the funny fact. I didn't realize it until I was listening to my podcast with Strong Opinion Sports, that since firing Robert Saleh, their defense have given up more points. Not less. More points.
Yeah. I mean, this is a team that's panicking, Stu.
Yeah.
Like, this is a team that came in expecting to be like genuine Super Bowl contenders and is sitting at the bottom of the league. A lot of 20-point losses that you just mentioned, which should resonate well with a Cowboys fan. And like,
How dare you?
they're hard to watch, man. Like, it's kind of sad to watch. Like Rodgers, like it feels like he's limping around out there. Like he's got 2 elite receivers, an elite running back, and like he's just not doing much with it, man. Like granted, Breece Hall had a nice game, but like I don't know, man. This team's rough. Like anytime you fire your head coach and your GM midseason, like all the white flags are being waved. Rodgers wants to come back next year, but like if I was the Jets, I wouldn't want him back next year. Like I would develop somebody else. Like what's the point of having him come back? Like he just doesn't look like he's like really there anymore. Like he's not healthy. He's like looks like he's always like throwing off of one leg. Like he's not I don't know. Like his decision making, he looks panicked out there. He's like trying to throw the ball so quickly. He's not like reading defenses. He looks like he just doesn't want to get hit. So he's just throwing the ball before he actually like fully gets a read on everything. And you're just like, bro, like you used to be the guy that would like read everything, like look safeties off, do all this stuff. And now he's just kind of like, throw the ball. It's like, dude, like you have Garrett Wilson and Devontae. Somebody's going to win a matchup. Wait more than half a second to throw the ball. Like, geez, Louise.
Sounds like our quarterback from Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of feel like Aaron Rodgers is hitting into like the Big Ben and the Eli Manning of later of their careers, where it's just like, man, I'm forgetting about the prime Rodgers right now. Like it's sort of sad. Like I don't.
It's true. No need to live in the past when we're living in the present. So
like honestly, like the last good prime Rodgers, like 2020.
Well, so I mean, something that I was listening to an episode of like Joe Rogan's thing the other day, and something he said about fighters that I really liked is he's like, you got to kind of evaluate people at their peaks, because like sometimes like he's like the way he put it was sometimes people's egos are so big that like they think they can do it forever. Like everybody thinks that they're Tom Brady and can win, but like Father Time catches up. And like it's hard, like you can't really evaluate him on like this season or last season. Like he's still a 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl champ, like
he's
amazing quarterback. I mean, gold jacket, but it's hard to watch. Like it's kind of like watching Mike Tyson on Friday night. And you're like, why did I watch this? Like, why in the world did I stay up to watch him throw 10 punches? And such a waste of time. That's how I feel every time I watch the Jets. I feel like I'm watching the Mike Tyson fight. Like, do something. Throw a punch.
Oh my God. What would you rather watch? Is the Mike Tyson fight or the New York Jets next game?
Well, at least one of those things won't have Jake Paul at them, so I'll take that thing.
All right.
At least one of those, and at least both those things won't be happening next weekend because that fight's not happening again, and the Jets have a bye week. Keep me at the Jets at it too, because I agree with everything what you guys are saying. Aaron Rodgers is like a dried up mushroom. Not really doing much of anything out there. Especially, he is one of the best running backs in the league. Breece Hall, Devontae Adams. You know, Devontae and Aaron Rodgers. They've been playing with each other for their entire careers for the most part. So yeah, they should be lighting some sparks, not dwindling out the candles. Easy too for the JET Jets.
Something else I saw too is like Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers had by far the worst completion percentage of like any wide receiver duo, especially with that many targets together. Like they're just forcing the ball to Devontae to hope that something sparks, and it's not. I don't know. Just I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Give me a 2. They're terrible.
They're
I'm
terrible.
frustrated with this team.
This has probably been the most disappointing. Ooh, is this the most disappointing team of the NFL this season? Like of all?
I mean, honestly, Stu, it's them and the Cowboys. And I know I'm laying it on the Cowboys, but like 2 teams that I picked to be in the playoffs that are just losing by 20 points week in and week out.
Honestly, I feel like okay, hear me out. Given the case why they think the Jets are. Cowboys looked bad with the offensive line, and that's a little bit disappointing. But you kind of saw that there was warning signs. There was no warning signs with the Jets.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yes.
But Stu, you saw some kind of warning signs because I don't think you picked them to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year. So like you picked the Cowboys and you didn't pick the Jets. So like now I don't feel like that's a fair statement from you.
All right. I gave him a 5 because I just didn't know. I didn't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be this bad.
That was your warning sign then. With the Cowboys, we all saw it from a mile away, making no offense season moves, everything else, and we still picked them. So I don't know.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
So just admit your Cowboys are terrible.
I just got beaten up in this podcast. I'm sorry. It's just like I'm like the Simpsons episode where basically they're like crying. He's like, he's already dead. That's what you guys have been doing. Like, and I'm like a dead corpse.
Well, we wouldn't bring it up, but you keep bringing up the Cowboys. Like every game we're talking about. Oh yeah, but would the Jets beat the Cowboys right now? It's like, oh, you just brought it up. Time to bash Stuart a little bit more. Here we go.
Well, Stuart, I think I'm making up for lost times with how many times throughout our friendship I've heard the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl. That's how many jabs I'm trying to get into this podcast.
I had a nickel for every time, man. We'd be retire.
You literally came in every time and be like, hey, I will even tell you this. Even next year, even if we
Dude, I believe you said that after they beat the Steelers, and then they've since lost like 5 or 6 straight games.
I don't want to talk about it.
Good times. Good times.
I just want to cry on the inside. The Cowboys lost.
Cry on the outside. Stu, would you shed it? Let me ask you a question, Stu. Would you shed a tear if the Cowboys went 0-17? You're gonna ask me about the Lions winning the Super Bowl every year. I'm gonna flip these questions.
I think we'll almost be having a parade for that.
What's gonna happen? Do you see me? This is gonna be me.
Sir can be the grand marshal of that parade when the Cowboys go.
The whole time, just like why? I hate my life right now. That would be me every time.
We're talking another 5 minutes about the Cowboys. Here we go.
All right, let's talk about
Here we go.
Let's talk about Anthony Richardson. So interestingly enough, this week Joe Flacco got benched, and they put back Anthony Richardson, which was actually a good move because they won against the Jets. So they won against the Jets by 1. So we'll start with you, Christopher. What is your thoughts about the Colts?
All right, Stuart, you and I gave the Colts a 5 last week. Doug gave them a 4. I'm going to keep them at a 5 because right now they would be missing the playoffs by a full game to the Broncos for the final wildcard spot. I don't feel like there's going to be 2 teams. Actually, from the AFC South, I don't know if there's going to be 2 teams. If it's going to be 2 teams out, it's going to be the Texans and the Colts. Colts should have lost that game, but like I always mention, every podcast, a win is a win, a loss is a loss. If you're able to win, heck yeah. Colts should have lost, but they won. They won in dramatic fashion, going up to the final stanza there. I gave him a 5 last week. Keep him at a 5 because, that quarterback situation in Indianapolis is it's the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even though it's going to be Anthony Richardson moving forward because he allowed him to victory, but if he has another bad game.
All right, Randy Douglas, it's your turn.
I'll give them a 5. But they play the Lions this week, so I'm still skeptical. I mean, it might be a weird opinion with how poorly I've talked on the Bengals all year, but somebody's got to get that 7 seed in the AFC. But who's it between them, the Broncos, and the Bengals? One of those 3 teams, and I feel like this is the least likely team of those 3 to make it. I don't know. There's just something I mean, Anthony Richardson, I mean, it was fun to see him get 2 rushing touchdowns. Like, there were some nice moments there. Like, Jonathan Taylor, though, man, oh, man, what a bummer to have him in fantasy this week when Richardson taking all the rushing TDs. But, like, I mean, I'm excited. I think they made the right move. Like I was saying it last week, like, let Richardson develop, you know. I mean, he's clearly got some of that physical potential. He just needs game repetition. And the more he gets repetition, the better he's going to get, the more accurate he'll get, the more comfortable he'll get. So, like, let him out there. I mean, even if they don't make the playoffs, you still got to let your young guys get, you know, some touches, some experience, some actual game time stuff. So give him a 5.
All righty. And I feel like the Colts, I still want to keep them at the 5 because, like I said, they would not make the postseason right now. They are chugging along. They are doing good. They still have a losing record of 5-6, but like I said, I do feel like the Colts are definitely looking a lot better. Anthony Richardson is looking a lot better. I agree with you, Douglas. Granted, they had to come back in this game in the last minute, but they did. And you know what? I always say it's clutch time. He got the clutch in there and did that. Some quarterbacks couldn't do it in the clutch time. Anthony Richardson got a clutch time on that one. So I'll give him a great old 5. And we got triple 5s right now for the Indianapolis Colts right over here. And now we got to talk about another team, the Minnesota Vikings, beating up on those Tennessee Titans in such a close game, 23-13. And we'll start with me. What is my thoughts about this great Tennessee Titans game? Oh, my God. Will Levis is playing so good. And so good, I mean so bad. With 1 interception, 1 TD. Didn't we give him a 2 last week?
Yeah, we all gave the Titans a 2. I mean, Will Levis didn't have that bad of a game. He was 5 yards short of a 300 game. Yeah, when the team around you or the team you have around you isn't the greatest, obviously it's going to directly reflect.
Yeah, they've only had 2 wins so far. The Titans have 2 wins. One of them is against the Patriots, and one of them was against the the Dolphins, the Dolphins without Tua. Oh God. This is honestly might be the worst too. Like if I'm thinking about it with the record, like honestly, I'm gonna give them the 2, but I think is this like the worst 2 team in the NFL? Like, is it gonna be the Jets or is it the Titans?
Well, it's not the Jets. The Titans are definitely worse than the Jets.
But
I mean, I don't know.
The Jets have 3 wins. You're talking about who's a worst 2-team team?
Or who has the worst that has a number 2 in our rankings?
Oh, I mean, we're not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty low on the Raiders personally, but like I might just be being a hater. I don't know.
I'd probably say the Panthers because the Panthers are still at 2. They had a bye week this week, and the Panthers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
So yeah, they would take the cake.
According to Adam Schefter, there will at least be, I think he said, 7 coaching changes this offseason. A lot of our 2s will be replacing their coaches next year.
There's going to be a huge unemployment line right now in the NFL with a lot of 2 teams. And but didn't they fire their coach? They're going to fire another coach.
Who?
Last year? Didn't they fire the coach last year?
Oh, I don't know if Tennessee will be one of those openings. I'm just saying there's a lot of those bad teams that'll be searching for new coaches.
I mean, I think Vegas is probably going to do one. Jacksonville, Cleveland, they're going to keep their coach, right? Right, Chris?
Yeah, more than likely.
I mean, Mike McCarthy's gone. Like Dable in New York's gone. Yeah, like, there's quite a few of those guys.
Dable's going to probably be gone.
Doug Peterson's gone.
Oh God, with Chicago fire their coach?
No, I mean I think they're gonna blame it all on the offensive coordinator and just act like Caleb Williams isn't a bust for another year.
Yeah,
they're definitely want to have their head coach and their number 1 overall pick for at least 2 years. So yeah, whoever their coach is now, he's probably safe.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean they whatever. We'll get to that game soon, but yeah.
Keep me at the Titans at a 2 like last week. I mean, Will Levis almost 300 yards, but rushing wise, he led the team with 18 yards. What happened in their running game? Is Tajay Spears injured? I don't even know. What about Tony Pollard? What's going on there? But if they can't get their running backs the ball,
has been kind of a bust so far on Tennessee.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, I mean, not a bust on the year. I mean, he had a bad game against one of the best rushing defenses in the league, sure. But I mean, I benched him in like my other leagues where I knew that I had options. Like I played him against you, Stu, because everybody else on a bye.
And
But
still,
and I,
that's okay. But that's okay.
Stu, the fact that I got a high score this week, that was one of the most surprising things I've ever seen. I went from at the airport saying like, man, good job, Stu, you got me, to getting off an airplane and saying, oh man, I got a chance at high score this week.
Woo!
And we did it.
I mean, I already gave up on fantasy, so that's okay.
That's all right, Stu. I'm glad that I was able to pull out the victory. I needed it. But anyway, give me a 2 for Tennessee. Like they hung with Minnesota. So I mean, I guess if we could just transition straight into Minnesota, because like I was going to kind of rant on them more. I mean, like they're 8-2, Stu, but like you were saying earlier, like they're kind of feeling sussy. Like they're one of those teams that they're like sitting at 8-2, but I guess I disrespected them earlier by saying the Steelers were the only team that didn't get an 8 at 8-2, but the Vikings, man, they've had back-to-back kind of mid games against bad teams. It's a little bit sussy, but like they should have beaten Jacksonville by a lot more. They should have beaten this team by a lot more. Like I kind of hope they start playing some good teams here soon, because we'll really see what Minnesota's made of. Is Sam Darnold able to, really, is he like truly an evolved quarterback, or is it more just, easy schedule, thrown to Justin Jefferson and Addison and all those guys? But I'll give him a 7.
Ooh. I think
what's wrong with 7?
I think last week I gave the
Stu and Doug gave the Vikings a 6 last week. I was the only one to give them a 7.
I mean, who would they play right now in the playoffs?
The Falcons.
Cardinals.
Oh yeah, I mean they would smoke. Like the Falcons are a disaster.
No,
it would be a home game for Atlanta. So yeah, Vikings versus the Falcons.
Oh yeah. That's a 7. I'm sorry, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, they're definitely a 7 right now. Like, oh my goodness.
Why is that the world's tiniest 7, Stu?
I am trying to be professional and not an amateur.
Giving them different font compared to you, Doug.
I'm sorry, that literally.
That's how we'll indicate the level of like 2s and 3s, Stu. We'll just make a really tiny one.
Right. Smaller 2, you get a bigger 2.
How dare you in this amateur podcast? Disrespect my excellent skills of being a podcaster. How dare you, gentlemen?
Well, this is easy for me because I already know who I already put them down, right? Eagles for an 8, Lions for a 9. So those two teams will be in the NFC Championship game. So that means the Vikings cannot be an 8. They would take down the Falcons. So yeah, put me down for a 7. Because I like what you guys were talking about earlier. How like the Vikings, their record might be good, but might not reflect on how they can perform and how they can actually win games. But end of the day, a win's a win, Hey. But when it comes to playoff time, it's how you win the game.
It's how you win.
Yeah, a win might be a win, but you're not getting a win if you can't play a game structurally.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be like an elite team like the way they played against Tennessee and Jacksonville these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, this has been a very sort of disappointing mid-season on the Vikings after their just dominance, and now it's just kind of like meh. It's kind of like I think you might win one playoff game. That's what I kind of feel.
Who would you guys take right now, Minnesota or Washington, and like a neutral field game?
Ooh,
Minnesota.
No, I'm just kidding.
Minnesota.
I would take the Commanders. I think the Commanders are.
Oh, I'll go with Vikings.
Yeah, I think I would also go Commanders. I don't know.
No. But anyway, hey, we can tend to just like I always say, we can tend to disagree with my opinions, but my opinion is still correct. So I'm just saying.
All right.
Man, I was really hoping that the Commanders and the Vikings would play, but they're not playing during regular season.
And speaking I'm sorry. And speaking of teams that are doing so well, the Raiders. And we'll start with you. Me. How do I feel about the Raiders being
me?
That's me. The disappointment. This is the Raiders. I mean, you can't really. I mean, honestly, Gardner Minshew. Why is he still playing? He should get benched. They lost 19 to 34.
Because their backup quarterback, Aiden McConnell or O'Connell, he's injured. So you got
Oh, good at this point. Because this team is garbage, honestly. Like, is Gardner Minshew the future? No.
Hey, Brock Bowers is fun, so that's something.
That's your literal bright spot is Brock Bowers for this
I
season.
mean, yeah, I guess so, man. I mean, he might be an all-time. Well, he's about to set all-time records for rookie tight ends. So
It is
at
like
least,
this. It's like the South Park joke where it's like, do you want a turd burglar or a crappy sandwich? It's not really saying much. I mean, the Raiders look like they're awful.
The Raiders still put up more points than the Browns and the Dallas Cowboys.
But they're still awful. And they're still getting a 2, in my opinion. They're not looking good. Gardner Minshew, honestly, has.
Do you know what's going to happen next year, Stu? This is where Dion and Shadur Sanders go, baby. They're going to take over Sin City.
Oh, my God.
That'd be crazy. Oh, my God. That place would catch on fire.
Oh, my God. Hey, they'll have fun in Vegas, right? Hopefully they don't party too much in Vegas. I'm just saying.
I gave Stuart and I gave them a 2 last week. Doug, you gave the Raiders a 1. I already gave my 1s away. So yeah, Raiders a 2.
Oh man, did I really? Oh man.
Yeah, all right. So you can't go.
I mean,
you can't go up.
I don't feel wrong with the take. I mean, that's the thing. Like the take's still valid. Just I didn't realize the Jaguars were gonna get destroyed by so much. Like this team's hard, man, to watch. Like I think that this might be one of those open coaching vacancies I was talking about here.
I think this guy's going to get fired. And it stinks because, like I said, I know they had a coaching fire at one point, and they kept this guy, because he improved. Because this guy was like the interim coach, but then they put him as a head coach. But now it's been kind of like,
well, I mean, it sucks for him too, because it's like, how much do you really evaluate an interim coach when Gardner Minshew is the QB you're giving him? So it's like it'd be kind of a shame for him to lose. But like also, you just kind of got beat pretty good by the Dolphins here. They should have traded Max Crosby to the Lions. Like, man, oh man, like you could have at least gotten some draft picks. Because like I think that's part of why the Lions are now so good is they traded Stafford, they used those draft picks to get more elite players. Like there's rumors of like the Cowboys possibly trading Micah Parsons. It's like when your team is this bad. Like, I don't know. I'm personally at this point of like, just get rid of those stars, get 3 first-round draft picks, and rebuild because, like, one player on this bad of a team is not going to make that world of a difference.
yeah.
He's like, so I'm like, I don't know what the thinking is in keeping, it's kind of like the same with the Browns. I mean, Myles Garrett's amazing, but like, if you can get like 3 first-round draft picks when you got like a late 20s superstar, go get it, man. Because I hate to see star players waste their primes on like 2 and 10 teams that have no legitimate chance.
I mean, look at what Christian McCaffrey with the Panthers. He was like, I feel like it was a waste of talent until he went to the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
And I mean, we have like precedent. Like I always think about it. The Cowboys were not a dynasty. Until we traded Herschel Walker to Minnesota and we got those draft picks.
Herschel Walker. I mean, I understand where you're going with this, but geez.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to go the past.
Well, I mean, if we want to go to a more recent, relevant example, like if you think about the Lions and that Jared Goff trade, that could be the ultimate win-win. Like the Rams won their Super Bowl, the Lions got draft picks, and now they're looking like they might be able to make a run at the Super Bowl. Like if both teams can end up winning a Super Bowl because of one trade, that's like the perfect trade. But like instead you want to like hold on to a superstar, let them kind of age into like mediocrity. It's kind of like Mike Trout and the Angels. It's like, why, dude? Why are we letting this superstar, one of the best players of all time, sit there and never make a postseason appearance? Like you're not giving the fans what they want. Like let the best players be in the biggest moments. Like don't let this guy waste his whole career missing the playoffs.
All right. And so
give me a 2.
Oh
wait, no, I lied. Give me a 1. I gave him a 1 last week. I can't go.
Man. I thought it was like it was gonna be a trade up. You were like,
no, I can't. I forgot I gave him the 1. Like they're terrible. Like
I was about to like geek out, and you're gonna put him the 2. Like, oh my god! And now we gotta talk about the Dolphins, who have been, granted, I know that I made comments that I said Tua should not have played. And look what they're doing now. They won a couple games. They're chugging along. They have now won 2 in a row as of right now. And we're going to start with you, Christopher. What is your thoughts on the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, we all gave him a 3 last week. So easy increase here. Tua's back. 12 yards shy of a 300-yard passing game. Devon Achane showing up why he might be one of the best running backs in the league. I don't say one of the best. Maybe we'll say top seven. Jonnu Smith, heck of a game. He was the game's MVP. Dolphins, they're playing the Patriots in Miami next week, so that should be another win. I don't want to jump up too high with the Dolphins because for some reason, if they lose that game, I can easily jump back down to a 3. If they win that game, I can increase them to a 5, depending on how everyone else plays in the league next week. So yeah, I'll go from a 3 to a 4, and I'm comfortable with that for sure.
Oh,
Tyreek Hill needs to get back. Yeah, he had 61 yards receiving, but I don't know if they just weren't targeting him enough, or if he had dropped passes, or what went down. But man, they need to get the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy going again.
He was not the number 1 on receiving on that game.
Well, definitely not. He was not the number 1 receiving that game. But for fantasy wise, he was taking number 1, if not number 2 overall for wide receivers. So,
man, dude, I'm a little bit bummed right now. I mean, I'm not bummed because it worked out for me. Like, I can't believe that a guy traded Tyreek Hill for McLaurin straight up. I offer trades like T. Higgins and another player. And, like, you're telling me you'd rather have McLaurin over T. Higgins? Like, come on, man. Unreal. But that's their mistake, not mine.
Wait, so you received Tyreek Hill and gave away Scary Terry?
That's what happened in our league, yeah, straight up.
I don't really pay attention to trades in fantasy, including our league, obviously. Dang.
Yeah, I mean, straight up, and then McLaurin had 1 catch for 10 yards. Like, lost absolutely unbelievable.
So you received Scary Terry?
I did not make this trade.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I thought it was you. I'm like, man, that's quite a trade.
No. I tried to get Tyreek Hill, but I was trying to give up like a T. Higgins, who when he plays, man, T. Higgins is like, I think he's a top 5 receiver right now, man. That dude's balling out. He's averaging like 18, 19, 20 points a game.
I mean, if they're not giving it to Chase because Chase is double covered, they're going to give it to Higgins. So,
and even so, Chase still had 2 touchdowns. Like, Chase still put on an absolute clinic again. Right. Their offense is just clicking. But yeah, I agree, Chris. Give me a 4. Like, I tempted to go to a 5. Like, honestly, it's a feeling like a team that's going to potentially make a push for that 7 seed. But there's a few other teams on their way. But the schedule seems to be okay for them, and they might make a run at something here.
Yeah, they might make a run. We'll see. And now it's going to be my turn. They're chugging along. Honestly, this Dolphins team has definitely been chugging. I mean, since Tua has been back, they've just been winning. Even if they lost with the Bills, that's at least a close loss with the Bills. It is crazy to think that, like, 2 weeks ago, we gave them a 2 at the certain point with the Dolphins. They were looking so bad without Tua. And now they're bouncing back up. They're looking up. It's like a stock market right now. It's climbing up here, up and away. And you know what? I'm going to give them the 4. So it looks like the Dolphins are climbing up on the stocks. I think someone did pick the Dolphins, right? Did I pick the Dolphins or you picked the Dolphins?
Yeah, we all picked the Dolphins, but Doug picked the most of them.
Ah, boo.
Doug comes out with that winner right there.
Well, I mean, they're a team, man. Like, if they make the playoffs too, they're kind of like the Rams in the NFC, where it's like you don't want to see this team. Like, if this team gets healthy and Tyreek gets back to form, like, that'd be a nightmare matchup for like a potential, like, maybe like a Baltimore Ravens or like one of those teams where you're just like, man, you don't want to see that team with that speed in the playoffs.
Yeah, and finally they can be not the longest team without winning a playoff game in the NFL right now.
Yeah, it's wild that it's been longer than the Jets. I can't believe
the Jets won. Oh yeah, the Jets have won the playoff game. That is crazy. Yeah. And now we got the greatest game in my opinion for lolling. Oh my God, the Bears lost to the Packers, 2019.
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching this game, Stu, because I think we watched the end of this one kind of together on Red Zone there. I had the same question that the media had, like, why you still had a timeout, why are you settling for a 46-yard field goal? Like, there was like 30 seconds left. And, like, granted, I mean, you have a good kicker. That kind of has become semi-automatic in the NFL. But you still got to wonder. It's a game-winning field goal. You know there's going to be extra nerves. Why not try to get another 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 yards, something? Like, run a quick out. You have the entire playbook open because you still have timeouts left. And granted, I mean, the kick was blocked, so, like, it might not have mattered, but, like, I just don't get the decision-making to settle for that long of a field goal in that situation. Like, this is the game that obviously they should have won. Like, they had themselves set up perfectly. Like, there was some good stuff going on. I think I was reading about Roma Dunze is starting to kind of heat up. There's some connection starting to happen. But, I mean, they've lost, like, their last several games in a row, I think. Like, they've lost 3 in a row, maybe, like 4 in a row. I don't know what it is.
They lost to the Packers. They lost to the Bears. They lost to the Cardinals. They lost to the Commanders. Their last one was against the Jaguars.
Yeah, they lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, and, like, so exactly. They lost 4 in a row. I think they're sitting at, like, 4-7 or something like that, or I don't know.
This is their only, like, besides the Commanders, this is, like, their only close game, mind you.
Exactly, and, like, it's hard. I mean, me and Chris have kind of both been sounding the Caleb Williams might be a bust alarm. And it's kind of a shame too, because I mean, there was, like, honestly, as a biased Lions fan, I wanted the Bears to win this game. I would have loved to see the Packers get another loss. But at the end of the day, you know, this is just one of those teams that just can't quite figure out how to win. What did we give them last week?
We all gave them a 4.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I'll stay at a 4, and, like, I'm tempted to go to a 3, but, like, they still have 4 wins, and they played really well. Like, they should have won, but I'll give them a 4.
Bears. Oh my. Why couldn't you just kick a field goal? Oh, Bears. And you know what the crazy part is? As of right now,
they just didn't make it.
Yeah, why couldn't they kick the field goal and make it? And the crazy part in this recording, as of this recording right now, the Bears have lost 11 straight games against the Packers.
Ooh.
Haven't beat them since 2018. Yeah.
Pre-COVID. Wow, that's unbelievable.
I was going to say BC, baby, before COVID.
Before COVID. That's how many losses. 11 in a row.
I feel like a timeline before COVID doesn't even exist. That's how long ago COVID was.
Yes. It was, oh my God. But I can't believe it that the Bears are. I'm just like, Caleb Williams has been kind of like mid. I wouldn't still say the bust yet. I still feel like maybe we give him like one more year, and then maybe I'll say if he's the bust in Chicago, not a bust in the NFL, but the bust in that organization. But yeah, this team is going to be, this is going down. I don't feel confident. I honestly think they should get a 3 for right now, just for like that field goal kick cost. They could have stayed at a 5, and I think they won that one. But now they're going to be going down to the 3.
I like what Doug said about Romeo Dunze. He's getting more targets. He had 6 catches, 65 yards. Caleb Williams, I mean, still not a bad game. He did not throw an interception, but he didn't throw a touchdown. And you can't really, unless your quarterback's, you can't win unless your quarterback's throwing a touchdown for the most part. Words.
Unless you're Russell Wilson, and then still hype you up.
Russell Wilson's going to get us a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Bears should have won that game. Like you said, they had one timeout left. You said, 30 seconds? Wasn't really paying much attention to the game of the week. Even though I don't know if it was a game of the week. Yeah, they should have won. A loss is a loss. Doesn't matter how you played. DeAndre Swift, great game. Roshan Johnson, he had a touchdown. But since we gave the Buccaneers a 4 last week, or this week, because they had a bye week, Buccaneers were at a 4, Bears were at a 4, or Bears. Now you know my answer. They're at a 4. They have the same record.
Wow, you're keeping the
Bears
at a 4. Wow, I disagree with that. I just think the Bears. I don't know. I'm just like,
dude, it's so funny that me and Chris are the ones that are saying Williams is a bust, and you're the one that's giving him a 3. Like,
yes.
I'm
I don't feel confident with everything else. Okay, Caleb Williams is okay. I know. Are you telling me that I'm a hypocrite?
Not necessarily. I just think it's a funny take when I'm like, we're the ones that are like, Williams stinks. And you're like, the whole team's
I'll give him a 3.
I think it's just the whole team. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm not.
I mean, it's not their defense, too. Like, that's for sure. Like, it's not their running game. Their running game sounds like it was nice. They had 0 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Again,
seems like
I will say this. I wouldn't have said Bryce Young was a bust even last year. I probably would have said.
I think he did, though. That's the problem. Is I think that you were talking a lot of trash on Bryce Young last year, saying how they should have drafted Stroud and everything else.
No, I did not say. I said that. No, that was your take. I said
that was my take.
You said you wanted to take Stroud, and I would have said you could. I said they could have Patrick Mahomes on that team, and they would still like win only 4 games.
But Stu, I thought you said as long as you have Mahomes, you can win 10 like a Super Bowl every year. You're confusing me with your takes, Stu.
But Mahomes has a good offensive line. Got some people to pass with. Travis Kelce.
Not good enough on offensive line if he's not throwing touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, maybe not this week, but that's the difference. If you put Patrick Mahomes in like, I'm trying to say the what was like a garbage, the Browns, or like, are you telling me the Browns are going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, probably. Like you still got Myles Garrett, you still got Nick Chubb. Like
they're starting to cook, baby. They're starting to cook.
All right. Jaguars right now. If Patrick Mahomes is on the Jaguars right now, traded to the
Jaguars. You got Travis Etienne, you got Brian Thomas,
you got Christian Kirk, who's injured.
Oh my God.
You got Evan Ingram. You're just missing a quarterback.
All right, the New York Jets.
You got Devontae Adams. You got Garrett Wilson. Come on, Stuart.
Giants for goodness.
You got Malik Neighbors.
The Cowboys.
Absolutely.
No chance, dude. It's just the organization there.
Okay. Wow, you talking?
Speaking of the Packers, we all gave them a 6 last week.
Yeah, what are we gonna think? So we're gonna start with you, Douglas. Packers would be playing against the Cardinals as of right now. Are they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm low key. I prefer the Cardinals in that game. I don't know why. This Packers team just feels sus. Like you've been saying that the Vikings feel sus. Like they should have lost this game. I think Jordan Love is like right up there in league leaders and interceptions. Like there's just something off about this team. I mean, we'll get to see a little bit more here. Like they get to play the Lions, I think, twice still. Like there's still a lot of big games. But I mean, they're 7-3 though, too. But there's just something about the way the Cardinals are playing that I would take them on a neutral field. So give them a 6 still. Like they got lucky to win this one.
And I kind of actually agree with you, Douglas. Actually, I think the Packers have been looking okay, but I'm just like, they should have lost this game. They should have. They got lucky that a block kick. You got to thank the defense for blocking that kick.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they can beat the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals look a lot better right now. I mean, you do have Jordan Love as a quarterback, but still, I'm just like, meh. I'm just kind of feeling like I'm meh. I think this is probably going to be a team that's going to be one and done in the postseason. So, unfortunately, I'm going to give them the 6. Now, are you going to?
I'm all in agreement, guys. I give them a 6 as well.
Oh my God, we got the mark of the beast! Triple sixes! No.
3 teams from the NFC North make the playoffs: Lions, Vikings, Packers. You're gonna have 2 of those teams make the second round: Lions, Vikings, and that means the Packers are not going to do it.
Unfortunately,
I like how you guys are so comfortable with the Cardinals. I might be cheering for them shortly because I like what they're doing.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, the Cowboys are not awaiting in the playoffs again this time. So, no playoff victories this year.
Blowout last year.
How dare you? Why you got to? Why? I guess this is the week of trolling on Stu week.
I'm sorry, Stu. I'm in Texas.
Like I said, I had a down reason. You always bring up the Cowboys. So for every time you bring them up, we're gonna come right back at you. That's why this podcast is going to last 2.5 hours.
It's in my face the whole time.
Mm.
Really? I deserve all this pain and suffering?
Oh, Stu, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, I don't have a lot of sympathy. You're not going to get a lot of sympathy from a Lions fan. So, like, I don't know what you're looking for here. You got a Lions and a Browns fan, and you're asking for sympathy on losing. Like,
Yeah.
what are you looking for, Stu?
I mean, that is true. I mean, at least I get to hang out at the basement with Chris. How's that feel? Oh
There
my
you go. We'll save a room on the couch in the Lions basement for you guys. Come on in.
Boo. Boo. All you. Now, speaking of teams that did absolutely atrocious, the Atlanta Falcons just absolutely got obliterated by Bo Nix, 6-38. So I guess I'll start with how do I feel about the Falcons just absolutely getting steamrolled, actually stampeded by the Broncos right now. My God, this Falcons team does not look good. This Falcons team looks very sussy. I don't know if this Falcons team is going to make the postseason. This is making me think that we're going back to like the Falcons.
Stu, can I bring up something that I had said like a couple podcasts ago?
Yes.
Any team with a defensive pulse, the Falcons stink against. And what happened? A defensive-based team smoked them again. I think there's a trend here that I pointed out weeks ago. And you're like, no, the Falcons are great. And I'm like, no, they're just playing teams with poor defenses.
How dare you? How dare you? My opinions are right, even though sometimes they're wrong. But hey, we can disagree, but my opinion is still right. But anyway. Oh my God. I think for right now, the Falcons have been just looking very sussy. Like, honestly, I believe like this is definitely a warning loss game where it's just like, oh my God, they would play against the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm going to give them for the 6 for right now. Because granted, they still have a winning record, but I feel like we're going back to the crappy AFC South, the NFC South, instead of the good NFC South right now. It's just like, this has honestly been a disappointment. I thought NFC South was going to be good, but now it's just garbage.
And I mean, they kind of got 2 fluky wins as well. Like they probably should have lost to the Eagles, and I think they should have lost that one to the Buccaneers as well. And I mean, they got 2 like really kind of lucky late wins. Otherwise, there's a team that's probably sitting there like 4-6.
Yeah, and then we all be like, man, this division should get a 5.
Mm-hmm.
We all gave the Falcons a 6 last week. I'm gonna keep them at a 6. Yeah, they wouldn't be making the playoffs currently. They would lose the Vikings 100%. They have a bye week this upcoming week. Buccaneers play the Giants in New York, in New Jersey. So that can make it easy room for the Buccaneers to start moving up and get the division title without Evans and Godwin. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, easy 6 for the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons got lucky that they got to play the Buccaneers early in the year when they were like without their 2 receivers. Because I mean, if they split the season series, this would have a completely different feel. But like the fact that they own the head-to-head over the Buccaneers is the only reason that they're going to stay a 6 for me as well.
So stinks. Falcons are falconing high and mighty right now.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Denver Broncos and the power of Bo Nix and his Christian music lovingness propelled them. Oh yeah, you didn't know Bo Nix actually loves Christian music.
Man, oh man, there's something about those Denver QBs and Christians music, huh? Good old Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow, Bo Nix. I mean,
maybe it's because they're just a mile closer to Jesus than us do.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. They're a mile closer to heaven, so that's why they're doing it. They're like power. That's why you call Denver Mile High City. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, last week Stu and I gave the Broncos a 6. Doug gave them a 5. I feel like they would play the Bills right now, who are 0-2 or who are 9-2. They'd play them in Buffalo. The playoffs started. They would get whomped by Buffalo. Actually, I want to say whomped because Denver has one of the better defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL. But yeah, keep them at a 6 because I can't stray away from the Bills losing in the first round with how the Bills are playing.
Yep. And
well said.
You guys mentioned earlier Jane Daniels versus Bo Nix. Jane Daniels has a 99.6 quarterback rating on the season. Bo Nix is at 89.3. Yards on the season, Bo Nix at 2,275. Jane Daniels at 2,338. So, yeah, right now Jane Daniels has 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Bo Nix, 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Oh, no.
Jane Daniels has a better conversion, a little bit more yards, better QBR. So, yeah, Jane Daniels is the Rookie of the Year at the moment based on statistics.
Yeah. I mean, they're a fun team, man. Like, they're kind of one of those teams that, like, kind of keep surprising us. I mean, if they make that kick against the Chiefs, man, this team's feeling like a whole lot different, too. Like, they're one kick, like, they're still a nice playoff team. Like, give them a nice 6, but, like, I don't think they beat Buffalo, but really nice story. Like, I love what Bo Nix is doing. It's nice to see that Sean, oh, goodness, why can't I think of his name now?
Sean
No, it's not McVay, too. It's not Bay. It's Peyton. Sean Peyton.
That's Sean.
Yeah. I almost said McVay, but yeah, like it's kind of nice to see that he could still coach, and maybe Russell Wilson was kind of holding them back.
Yeah, I think honestly, maybe because honestly, Russell Wilson was a veteran, and Sean Payton was like, I kind of want that QB just to mold him, mold him like a cast. And I feel like using Bo Nix has just been a good mold for this team. But I'm still probably going to give him the 6 for right now. Like, I don't think the Broncos are going to win against the Bills, but it's been a good improvement. Like, honestly, I think they've been chugging along. Like Sean Payton, I think, has honestly been a good start, I would say, even though, granted, I thought, he was kind of washed as a coach. And now look at that. He proved me wrong. Just saying.
Nice.
And now we got the Seahawks losing to the 49ers, I believe.
Nope.
Oh, it was 49ers?
Yeah, Seahawks beat the 49ers, Stu.
Oh, my God. They did 20-17 by a field goal, if I remind you.
Dude, this was probably the second best game of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, this was. And we'll start with you.
I wish I would have watched it.
Wow.
Well, the whole game itself, it was just like, I'm not going to lie. This is going to sound harsh, but like, I really like to see the 49ers lose for some reason. Like, I feel like they were just kind of like, they were pretty trolly to the Lions last year when they beat them. And so, like, I really kind of like seeing them stumble a little bit straight up.
Hey, as a Cowboys, that's how I had to deal with the 49ers. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Like, I just love seeing like them constantly collapse in the fourth quarter. Because it's like this team could easily be like 7-3, like type of team. Like they've had like, I forgot what they've lost 3 divisional games with a lead with under 2 minutes to go. Like they lost to all 3 of their division rivals with the lead with under 2 minutes to go in the game. And that is hilarious to me. Like they should have won this game. They lost to the Cardinals by 1 last second. They lost to the Rams last second. And honestly, they might not make the playoffs. Like this is kind of a panic game for them. Like McCaffrey came back and they haven't really looked all that much more dominant. Like they obviously lost this one to a Seattle team that was kind of reeling. And it's kind of a warning sign, man. I mean, they still have to play the Lions, which will be a tough one. They're sitting there a game behind the Cardinals, and the Cardinals have won the head-to-head matchup. And
did you look at their next 2 games? They got to play against the Packers.
Yeah, the Red Hot Packers
in Lambeau, and the Bills at both the games away.
Exactly. I mean, they still have to play 3 teams that are 7-3 or better. And so it's like, man, oh man, dude. Like, I mean, right there, if they lose all 3 of those games, best they can do is like 9-8. And like I think the Cardinals are going to stay hot. Like they still have to play the Cardinals in Arizona, I believe. So like, there's no guarantee of that win either. The Cardinals already beat them once. I think they still have to play the Rams again as well, and the Rams are heating up. So it's like this is going to be a team that there's not an easy game necessarily left on the schedule, and they're going to need to get to probably 10 wins to make the playoffs. I don't really know if I see 10 wins on the schedule. So, I mean, I'm going to give them – what did we give them last week?
We all gave the 49ers a 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'll stick with the 5. Like, it feels like a really weak 5. But, I mean, they're still right there in the mix because the division is so wacky. But, like, that schedule is brutal, man.
Yeah. I got to say that schedule is brutal. And the 49ers have just been kind of like, they should have won this game. I think they should have won this game. Got Christian McCaffrey back after 2 weeks, and they lost.
You got to learn how to use him better. Yeah, he's been back for 2 weeks, but he hasn't scored a single touchdown.
No touchdowns for Christian McCaffrey? He has not been good for my fantasy?
If he's on your fantasy team, you should definitely know that he's not done too well the last 2 weeks since he's been back.
Man, honestly, Purdy's looking good. Honestly, I don't think the 49ers are going to make the postseason. I think of all the teams, I'm going to keep them at the 5, but I would be honest with you, I do not see them making the postseason, and I think it's going to be a rude awakening for the 49ers where it might be a little while before, because this was supposed to be their Super Bowl year. And, this was their Super Bowl or bust, and now it's going to be a big bust right now, and you're going to lose a lot of players. You're going to lose.
Can I ask you guys a question? So if we just throw out the records and we just look at kind of roster and talent, where would you rank the 49ers?
They should be like a top 5.
With injuries or without injuries?
Without injuries going into the season, I think we all had them as maybe the second or third best team in the NFL.
In the NFL. I had the 49ers being number 1 in the NFC.
I honestly thought that I gave them the 8 in the preseason, and now it's just
So, Doug, to answer your question, based on the roster, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, they had Juwan Jennings, who's been impressive, but going into the season, we were expecting them to blow the wall, blow up every team.
Well, and that's the part. I think even at the moment, if we were to do that, I think they might be third best. Because I think I would take. I don't know, man. Brock Purdy's nice. I would probably take the Lions combo of everything. I would take the Eagles combination over the 49ers. I think theoretically on paper, the 49ers are a top 3 team, but they just keep losing these games. They probably had a 90+% chance to win this one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look, but I would imagine pretty good odds to win this game. And then Geno just pulled it out.
Well, technically, yeah.
Well, at one point they did have a 90% chance of winning, but before the game, I'm not sure.
Oh, they did have a 90% odds at one point.
Late in the fourth quarter, they probably had 90-ish%. They had control of this game.
Yeah, they had a 90.3, and they blew that game.
At kickoff, they had a 69% chance of winning. Yeah, midway through or close to the end of the fourth, 90.3% chance of winning. So, 49ers should not have lost this game. Like I said, we all gave them a 5 after last week. I'm going to continue with a 5 because, you guys said they play next week in Lambeau Field in Green Bay, then the following week against the Bills, like you guys were mentioning. Man, it doesn't get much easier unless CMC starts, being an MVP. Well, he's not an MVP, but if he starts playing like he always has, getting the motion, start getting 2 touchdowns a game, if that doesn't happen, 49ers are in big trouble.
They're in big, big trouble right now. It's so sad. We thought that this team was going to make the Super Bowl, and now they're just I don't even think they're going to make the postseason.
I would put the 49ers at a 4, but I can't do that because we put the Buccaneers at a 4 and we put the Rams at a 5. Right now,
they're at an 8. They're an 8th in the division in the NFC. So it's
plus over the next few weeks, we might see that 5 start dwindling down. Unfortunately, for surprise shocker 49ers.
Is it crazy?
Yeah, they lose the next 2, man. 5 is a pipe dream.
Yeah, they might be going down to a 3. And now we got to talk about the Seattle Seahawks, who come back. Literally at one point was a 90.3 that the 49ers win this game, but yet the Seahawks came back and got a touchdown at the end to win it all. So we'll start with me right now. What did I give the Seattle Seahawks last week?
We all gave the Seahawks a 4 last week.
Okay, so they did get close. They are chugging along. That is.
Are they also 5-5?
Yes.
I believe them and San Francisco now have the same record.
They're in the same record right now. And oh God, yeah, that is a good question. They're in the 5s. They're triple 5s. It's the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. You know what? I think they're bouncing back up. I think I'll give them the 5 for right now. I think they're looking a little bit better. Will they make the postseason though? Probably not. No, I have a feeling that still the Commanders. I feel like LA is going to make it out of these. Like, if I had to pick these three teams, like LA, Seattle, or the 49ers, San Francisco, I think LA would somehow sneak that in. And I think the Commanders was okay. Mark my words. The Rams will make the postseason,
Ooh.
and the Commanders will not make the postseason.
What? What the heck?
Yes.
Are you putting any money on that?
So, did you guys look at the rest of the 49ers schedule too? Like, they also have to play at Miami. They play Arizona again. They play the Rams again, the Bills, the Lions, at Green Bay. Like, that schedule is daunting, man. Like,
Yes.
you might be right, Stu. That's rough.
That's a rough schedule. They got a rough schedule. And now, I mean, Seattle has they got to play next week against the Cardinals. Then it's the Jets. Then it's the Cardinals again. Then it's the Pack. Oh, yeah, that's a rough one. Vikings, it's sus, Bears, and then Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just about to mention that segueing into the Seahawks. Yeah, we all gave them a 4 last week. You're going to increase me from a 4 to a 5 there, Stu. Because, yeah, I mean, they're same record as the 49ers, same record as the Rams. Rams are right there. Rams, Seahawks, 49ers, even the Buccaneers getting playoff contention. But the
Cardinals have the best schedule, I think, too. Like, the Cardinals, I just pulled up theirs. Like, they still they get the Panthers and the Patriots still this year for the Cardinals. So, like, the Cardinals, they might be able to pull away with this one with looking at everybody else's schedules.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a Mexican standoff with everybody else in the Cardinals.
Mexican standoff. Yeah, huge game next week. Seattle plays in Arizona for first place in that division. Woo!
Woo, woo. It looks good. And now, Douglas, what is your thoughts about the Seattle Seahawks?
Well, I mean, we can't give them anything less than a 5. They just beat the 49ers, so we gave a 5. They're 5-5. Everything's pointing to a 5. Give me a 5. 5, 5, 5.
5, 5, 5. 5.
$5 Seahawks.
$5 Seahawks. I had to do it just for that. I'm going delirious. It's almost 11 o'clock. I had to do it. And now, finally, Douglas, you get to be so happy now that the Chiefs finally lost the game. Unfortunately for us, that the champagne bottles for the 72 Miami Dolphins get to be popped again because, as tradition, there is no perfect team with a perfect record anymore at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say. I mean, I told you guys that they would lose by 7+. They lost by 9. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you kind of knew it. I mean, granted, still in the playoffs. At the moment, the Chiefs are the 1 seed. I don't know that Buffalo could go into Arrowhead in the playoffs and win until Josh Allen does it in the playoffs when it actually matters the most. They're still the Chiefs, but I said what I was going to do. I'm going to keep them at the 8.
All right, thank God. I thought you were going to put them in the side. I was like, bro. I would have been like,
he doesn't dislike the Chiefs that much.
No, I mean, see, Stu, that's the thing. I think you're mistaking me for a hater when I'm really just a realist.
Okay.
Because I truly respect everything their organization has done, but you cannot tell me that if they played against Buffalo like they did, they wouldn't lose. If they played the Lions on a neutral field, they would lose. Like, there's a few teams that they would lose to. Okay. Like, granted, if they get home field advantage, all bets are off. I mean, they can beat anybody in the league at home in the playoffs. They know how to win. Right. But something feels different this year about, like, the Bills. Like, the Bills feel like they have something a little bit extra this year. And the Chiefs feel like a little bit like they are a little bit sus. If a team actually makes plays, like Josh Allen made that huge 4th down run, where, like, usually you just expect the Chiefs to make that play, but Buffalo made the play when it mattered most. And that's what was fun to see about this game.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Wasn't that 4th down run? Wasn't it a touchdown too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 4th quarter time, baby. Clutch.
Yeah, dude. Josh Allen is tired of this narrative of losing to Mahomes.
Yes, it is crazy to think. So far in the standings right now, the Chiefs, I have given them, since the preseason, 9s. They did lose to Buffalo. That made me kind of think, you know what, I'm going to lower them down. But this is the Chiefs.
Oh my God! If you're gonna keep them at 9, I'm dropping them to a 7, Stu.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
I'm
give me
kidding.
a
I'm
7.
putting him at an 8. I don't feel 100% confident, but I also we'll get to it when we get to Buffalo. We'll see how I feel about the Buffalo Bills. But I'm just saying, I think the Chiefs would win. I think if I'm looking at everybody else, like let's just say, like everyone else in that postseason, I think they can beat Pittsburgh.
Well, so Stu, do you know what's fun? We get to see the Chiefs at Pittsburgh here in a couple weeks too. That'll be a fun one.
I think they could probably beat the Texans or the Chargers. I think they could beat Baltimore and the Broncos. Like, I think they could beat any one of those teams.
I mean, they could, but you could also say that the Ravens could beat any one of those teams too and also be accurate. You could also say that the Bills could beat them.
But there's a lot of losses. That's a difference. They actually have losses
But,
versus the
Stu, but what you're saying is that they could beat anybody. What I'm saying is so could the Bills, so could the Ravens, so could
the Browns could beat everybody, but still.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying, it's the football league. But
if that's all I'm saying, if that's your argument pro Chiefs, then you can't give. I can give the exact same argument for why the Ravens could beat anybody.
But they have had sussy losses. That's the only problem. That's why
The teams have had lucky wins. What's the difference between a sus loss and a lucky win?
All right. I just feel like that he still came up and did it. I feel like, in my opinion, and I will still argue this one, as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, that defense, or Andy Reid, they still are contenders. They're still.
They're contenders, of course, dude. They're absolutely contenders. Nobody's not saying that they're contenders.
I'm just saying.
But they just lost by 9 points, and you're actually
lose by 9 points. But look what happened last year. They literally lost to the Broncos and the Raiders, who are both garbage last season, have been mid, and they still came back and won the Super Bowl.
So, Stu, in like 2011, when Eli Manning was like 9-6 or whatever it was, and won the Super Bowl, should we have been talking about how great Eli Manning was because he made a lucky run? Like, nobody's saying that about Eli Manning because he won 2 Super Bowls on teams that struggled down the finish. Like, sometimes teams just get hot at the right time. Eli Manning did it twice. Congratulations.
I feel like we will see who will make it to that Super Bowl. And like I said, I don't want to do a Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Why did the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl 59? I don't want to. I don't want to do that podcast. But I have a feeling I'm going to have to do that podcast.
No, I think that this is the Bills year, man. Something feels special about Buffalo.
All right. We'll see. I don't know. I'm always worried about the Bills. That's the same thing I feel about the Chiefs. About the Ravens, but we'll see. Anyway, Fyodor.
Last week, Stu, you and I gave the Chiefs a 9. Doug gave them an 8. We gave the Bills last week. Doug and I gave the Bills a 7. Stu gave the Bills an 8. When you're a 9 that loses to a 7, you meet right in the middle at an 8. So, yeah, easy decision on my part for sure.
And what's your thoughts about the Chiefs? You think they're still going to make the Super Bowl, or?
Well, clearly with an 8, or we're going. Okay, we're just going off. Man. Yeah, I mean the way the Ravens have been playing. Yeah, are they still going to make the Super Bowl? I would say yeah. They're just going to magically plop in there somehow.
That's what.
Stu, I'll put a bet right now with you. I'll take Bills to make the Super Bowl over the Chiefs.
All right, I'll do $1 bet, and you know what? I want you to take my $1. I don't want to do.
Are you guys doing $1?
Apparently, I'm in, Stu. I'm in.
All right, make sure we write this down so on our slideshow.
$1. That's what I want. This is not even like a man. I love Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I respect him, but I don't like the Kansas City Chiefs. I want them to get a peg down. Like I said, it's not going to be a fun podcast. I'm just saying.
Well, Stu, good news. We're not going to have to do that podcast. So.
I don't know. I have a feeling we will do that podcast. I don't know. I'm just saying. We'll see how it goes. And now
just spend $1 Stu.
All right. And now we got to talk about the Buffalo Bills. Now won a game defeating the evil empire of the Kansas City Chiefs by 9 points. So we'll start with you, Fyodor. What is your thoughts about the Buffalo Bills and Bills?
Yeah, like I just mentioned, Stu, you gave him an 8 last week. Doug and I both gave him a 7. This is easy. I can't have him going to the Super Bowl. I just don't feel that comfortable. I mean, they did beat the reigning champs by 9. You know, that's that's a 2-possession win. That's amazing. And the way they played, heck yeah, just shake, rattle, and roll the Chiefs. So yeah, I could see the a rematch of this past Sunday's game in the AFC Championship game. So yeah, Bills from a 7-8. Because yeah,
All right,
Josh Allen is playing like an MVP candidate for sure.
All righty, Douglas. What are you thinking?
I'm tempted to give them a 9 out of spite, Stu.
No!
But that would be disrespectful to the podcast. I'll give them an 8. Like, until they actually beat the Chiefs in the playoffs when it matters most, I completely agree with you. You cannot give them anything above the Chiefs, but also they look like a better, more consistent, well-rounded team than the Chiefs.
All right. I'll give you credit. Josh Allen and the Bills, Buffalo Bills, look really good. Honestly, even almost better than last year. And that's even crazy to say that. Because we all thought Buffalo was going to, you lost Stephon Diggs. That's crazy. And they're still 7-2? Stephon Diggs is actually in a worse record right now.
I think they're 9-2 still.
They're 9-2. Isn't that crazy to think that?
I mean, that's why I'm saying he might be coach of the year, because everybody expected, like, we all said this team wasn't even going to make the playoffs. And here they are, one of the most dominant teams in the league. I think they have the second best point differential only to the Lions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. And I will honestly think, I'm still going to keep them at the 8. I still don't feel confident with that 9 because I'm always afraid, and I'm going by history. And I always feel like history has shown Buffalo can't get that. They can't get that W towards that Super Bowl. They cannot. Maybe this year they can change it. But that's the same thing I feel the sus with the Ravens. They have proven, Josh Allen has proven so far, he cannot get to the end. Unfortunately. We will see. Maybe the narrative changes. But for right now, I'm going to have to keep him at the 8. And now we got the Bengals losing to the Chargers. So we'll start with, my God, we'll start with you, Douglas. What is your thoughts about the Bengals doing one little thing?
Game of the week for sure, man. Like, the Bengals are such a bummer, man. Because, like, I would love this team to make the playoffs. Like, they're such a fun team, but, like, they just don't know how to finish games. Like, they came down from 21 points down. Incredible second half performance. Honestly, if their kicker, another kicker that just, it's got to be feeling the heat today. Like, 2 chances to take the lead late and shanks 2 field goals. Like, they played, like, I turned on this game, it was 24-6 at the half. I get off the plane, I'm like, oh man, the Chargers amazing. And you know what the Bengals do? They completely flip the script. They go all out. They make it a heck of a game. And of course, they come up just a little bit short. But man, oh man, this team is just, they're frustrating, man. Like, their offense is unbelievable. But like, because you make that 2-point conversion against the Ravens, different game. Same thing with the Chiefs. They lost by 1 to the Chiefs. They lost by 1 to the Ravens. They lost late, really late to the Chargers. Like, this team is really close to being really competitive. But like Chris has been saying all podcasts, a loss is a loss, man. I mean, at the end of the day, they're what, like 4-7 or something?
Yeah, they're
4-7, third in the NFC North, and 10th spot in the AFC. So 3 spots out of the wild card. But Doug, like you mentioned earlier in the podcast, there's 3 teams fighting for that 7th seed. Well, if you want to include the team that currently has it, but yeah, Bengals, Dolphins, and Colts. It's gonna be
I mean, this it's gonna be a wild finish, but I mean, this team has to be a 4 to me. I mean, they got to learn how to win, and like, it'd be fun. Be fun to see them make that playoff spot, but like, every chance they get, they just don't do it.
Every chance, this Bengals team has been so inferior. Honestly, I feel like the Bengals remind me of how frustrating. Like, I guess if we wind it back last year, the Bengals feel like the Chargers last season, where there's a lot of losses, but it was a lot of close games, but they just like choked and choked and choke. They just can't get it done.
So I don't recall the Chargers last year. I know, yeah, maybe I do.
There was a lot.
Chargers,
I think like literally there was
Justin Herbert wasn't doing anything with the Chargers last year. So
Yeah.
maybe choke jobs all over the place.
Yeah, Justin. I'm sorry, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert and the Chargers were going so. I think there was like at least 7 or 8 games they lost by like 3 or 4. And it was just like a lot of painful losses. And this is what I feel like with this Bengals team makes me feel like. Yeah, they can't get a wins. It's been a disappointing season. The defense is just not good. I don't think this is Joe Burrow's fault.
It feels like every week we're talking like Joe Burrow, 500 yards and 8 touchdowns, and they lost.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of feel
like same thing. What happened this week?
I think you need to get better defense. And I'm going to have to lower them down to 3 because, like I said, they can't win games. You can't win clutch. You can't win games. You got to go down, in my opinion. Wow. So they're out of 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, last week, Stu and Doug, you guys gave him a 4. I gave him a 5, so it's easy for me because I put that we put the Dolphins at a 4 as well, and they got the same record. So yeah, 4 for me. Yeah, if you don't have defense, you can't win games. If you can't win games, you're not going to make the playoffs. And there's going to be 2 teams more than likely coming out of the NFC North. I'm sorry, the AFC North, and the Bengals aren't one of the teams at the moment. So yeah, fighting for a wild card. It's going to be real tough for them. Coming down the stretch.
Coming down the stretch, gentlemen. And now we got my turn. Actually, it would be yes. It would actually be yes, it is my turn. And now I get to talk about the Chargers, who are charging their way. They are still making the postseason, but they would play against the Texans. Have they played the Texans this year? Yes. Oh, they're looking good. I can't believe I made the worst prediction where I said that they're not going to be good.
Number 1 scoring defense in the league, I do believe, Stu.
You're right, Douglas, on that one. You're right. I was wrong. Okay, you're right on this one. But
I mean, you see how bad Michigan got when he left and how good the Chargers got when he got there. I mean, the man knows how to coach football.
Yes. But I feel like they last year, I feel like it was like they were so close. It's just they had a garbage coach.
Exactly. And like Harbaugh teaches fundamentals. Like he wins based on fundamentals. Like this team tackles, they make good plays, they run the ball well. Just a super solid, well-coached football team.
Yes. Now I've got to think about it. Can they beat the Texans? I think they can beat the Texans. I think they can honestly beat the Texans. So I'm going to give them the 7 for right now. And I think they can beat the Texans.
Yeah, we all gave the Chargers a 6 last week, and I'm right there with you, Stu, on par. Because, yeah, the way the Chargers have been playing, 4-game winning streak. I know Texans are still in first place in their division, but that could easily hop out, depending on how the Colts play over the next few weeks. You know what? I think it's a guaranteed loss this week for the Colts playing the Lions. Not going to
wood. No such thing.
Yeah, Chargers do a 7 because I think they could take down the Texans.
Ooh, all right, Douglas. It's now your turn. Are you going to give them the 777s, the holy trinity of numbers?
Yeah, I am. I think I saw a take earlier too. Somebody was like giving their like bets of the week, and somebody was saying to take the Chargers to win the AFC entirely and make the Super Bowl. Wow. Like, granted, I think that's a little bit of a hot take.
That's a hot take.
What? They're also saying though, and they had some good points too. Because if you're sitting there saying that the Chiefs are this amazing team, that the Chargers are built a lot like the Chiefs. They have really good running game. They have really good quarterback who's finally coming into his own, an elite defense. Like, I don't know what's not to like. We get a Horror Bowl this Monday night, Stu. That's going to be great too.
Ravens and Chargers, baby.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Chargers are going to win that game.
I mean, I kind of hope so because, like, then I don't know. Then it becomes interesting, because then.
I'm not trying to be biased because I don't like the Ravens, but I hope the Chargers win too. So you have a 5-game winning streak, and yeah, like Doug's been saying and preaching, Harbaugh knows how to coach football. So if he can beat his brother, so that was like a Super Bowl. Matt, was it the Ravens versus Cardinals? What, like a decade and a half ago? Yeah. And that was the coach of the Ravens who won that one, right?
Yeah.
So and I don't rematch here, and hopefully Jim could beat was it John Harbaugh for the Ravens?
Yeah, there's a lot to like here, man. I mean, great defense, like solid quarterback play, good running game. Like, I don't know, man. I see the recipe for a winning in January football team.
All right, we got a winning in January. We'll see. Maybe the Chargers are actually charging up, I should say, instead of low battery last year.
That's a good one.
I know I'm going delirious right now. And speaking of delirious, why do I have to do? Can we just
Good transition. Yeah, we can skip the Cowboys if you want to. Doug and I will have no problem doing that.
Yeah, just give me a quick two, Stu. I mean, I was at the game. I watched this atrocious team.
this?
I
Honestly, okay.
will say this. Their fans are loyal. For some reason, their fans showed up and were tailgating and having the time of their lives for mediocre football, and I respect them.
How dare all of you?
We all gave him a 2 last week, Stu.
I'm gonna give him the 2. It's just been so frustrating with this season. Like, this is just such a disappointing season. And can I go into like let's go into the Stu rants of like this. We literally just we didn't go all in. This was just a half measure right now. And this is the consequences of a half measure and the consequences of a terrible owner who did not want to change anything, who did not want to have Derrick Henry, who did not want to do like anything, didn't want to change it. We did was get a long snapper and Zeke. And now Dak is hurt. Cooper Rush is now a wash. And like the only thing I got to say is just put on Trey Lance. And also for the people that were complaining about that it's Dak's fault that this team is bad, look what happens without Dak. Dak would not fumble those balls.
Yeah, but I mean, even with Dak too, they were losing. I mean, it's not Dak's fault. It's everybody.
It's the offensive line. It's the offensive line. We didn't do anything for the defense, and we didn't do anything for the offense. We literally went from like the number 1 defense in the league last year to a trash defense in next year. It's a sad state of affairs to be a Cowboys fan. Chris, you're up next.
Oh yeah, easy too. I mean, we already gave our 1s away, and plus, at least Cowboys have three wins. We've been shutting our 1s to a team that has 2 wins only. Yeah, they play the Commanders next week in Washington.
We're gonna lose.
I mean, if the Browns could pull out a victory, well, no, the Browns don't even have a 1. It's the Giants and the Jags. If Giants could somehow pull out a victory against the Buccaneers and then the Jaguars, who are they? Oh, they have a bye week. So yeah, Jaguars aren't going to move away from a 1. Only team possible that would be the Giants. But even at that point, I don't think the Cowboys would stray away from a 2. So I'm comfortable with the 2.
Oh yeah, and also I skipped watching like the halfway through the fourth quarter. I was so disgusted by this team.
That's it. You should have stopped watching at halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, this team, like this isn't even me trying to troll Stu. This team looks like the worst team in football to me.
Yeah.
Like they are not competitive. Like they have not been competitive for 6 weeks. Like at least some of these other teams, like the Jaguars gave the Minnesota a good game. Like Tennessee can kind of hang around. The Cowboys have not hung around with anybody for 6 weeks. Like if they lost to the Steelers, I would give the Cowboys a 1 so unbelievably easily. Because like there's nothing. Like the only thing that I'll say positive about the Cowboys is they have probably the best kicker in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like they scored 10 points and one of them was like a 64-yard field goal. Like they literally needed a 64-yard field goal to get to 10 points. Like they are like, I have such little confidence in this team to do anything that like my strategy in fantasy the last 2 weeks is whatever defense is playing the Cowboys, go all hands on deck to get that defense. And do you know what it's done? Yeah. Do you know what's done for me, Stu? It just got me the high score of the week because they scored 17 points off of this terrible Cowboys team. I got 20 points and won an absolute game I shouldn't have won because the Cowboys are that bad. Like, I feel like I'm ranting more than you, but this looks like the worst team in football. Like, if they played the Browns again tomorrow, I would pick the Browns minus 10 points. like, I mean, I'm give them a 2, but it's like, make it a super small 2 if you would.
Yeah, right.
All right, fine.
Can you make it like size like 8 font or something ridiculous?
Yes, that's how small the 2 is right now.
That's what we should do for next year. Our fonts on how bad, because like there's so many twos in our league or on our rankings, and two are designed for the teams that are going to get between the 3rd and the 5th overall pick. And based on this, there's going to be a lot of teams getting between the 3rd and the 5th overall.
Well, Stu, I mean, straight up, the Cowboys are going to kind of be in football hell, too, because with 3 wins, they might fall to pick 10, 12, and then they're going to get they're not going to get anybody any of those elite players.
But I will tell you this is the one silver lining in this disaster of the season.
Yeah, let's hear it, Stu. I'm curious.
We do have a quarterback. And our problem is not quarterback. A lot of these teams, 1 through 7, need quarterbacks.
But Stu, that's almost worse to me though, because when Dak was healthy, they were getting destroyed. So I would rather have a team that's good that just needs a quarterback than a quarterback that doesn't have a team.
I honestly think we need better offensive line.
Exactly. You need an offensive line, you need a defensive line, you need a new coach, you need a running back, you need a receiver other than CeeDee Lamb.
It's just been such a disappointment. This has honestly been a sadness. And now, Christopher, we got to talk about the Houston Texans, who beat the Dallas Cowboys 34-10. Let's start with the Texans.
Looks like there's.
Oh, look at that, right on time. Let's see. Last week we all gave the Texans a 6. And let's see, playoff wise, they would be playing the Chargers, who I think we all agreed that the Chargers would be taking care of the Texans. Yeah, we did. So yeah, Texans, I'll keep them at a 6, even though, I mean, easy win on the road in Dallas, especially with the way Dallas is going.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, keep them at a 6 for sure.
All right, Douglas, it is your turn. What is your thoughts about the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, this is a team that, I think them versus the Chargers, and I know it's just hyping up the Chargers, but this feels like a coin flip. Just the Texans, they should have beat the Lions. They're a solid team, and if they can get healthy, and it's kind of a bummer Diggs is out for the year. But Joe Mixon, who would have thought having a good running back is valuable? 3 TDs versus the Cowboys. And he looked awesome. CJ Stroud is still one of the better quarterbacks in the league. There's definitely some concerns with this team, but also I still think that I would take the Chargers over them. Don't be shocked if this team makes a playoff push and makes a nice run. They have the pieces still. It's just, will they gel enough for playoff time? But I'll go 6.
All righty, we got a 6, and then I feel like, granted, the Texans did curb stomp my Cowboys at home, at away. I think they can definitely do well in the postseason, but they also, I feel like they're in that same where they're in the same thing how I feel about the Ravens, where it's just they done good, but granted they've been injured to all hell and they've been kind of a little bit sussy also. Granted, I feel like that sussiness is more just the team has been injured. They did lose to Stephon Diggs for the rest of the year than just the Ravens, I feel like. So I feel like in that case, I was definitely going to give them the 6. I don't think they can beat the Chargers, in my opinion. I still think the Chargers are looking a lot better. I don't know if they'll do a deep playoff push, in my opinion, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And now we got done with all that. And now I totally forgot. We got some weekly wagers of the week. Looks like.
Oh, Doug. Looks like you owed Stuart that Alaskan ale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, oh man, I was 1 quarterback change away from a beer. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget to add. What did you guys just wager on? $1 for.
We did Bills versus Chiefs in the playoffs.
Oh, in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, which one? So if neither of them make the Super Bowl, I guess the bet is void.
Yeah, so wait, Doug, you picked the Bills to make the Super Bowl, and Stu, you picked the Chiefs for $1?
Yeah.
Yeah, Super Bowl.
It's not Bills versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They can't have them, but I know where you're going here.
Has anybody been eliminated from playoff contention? I don't think anybody's been enough.
We have no teams eliminated as of right now.
Yeah, because there's still teams that could technically still make the wild card.
Yeah, usually if I remember last year, I think it was December was when the first time the Panthers got eliminated from the postseason, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the Broncos are 6-5 right now. They have the worst record making the playoffs. So technically, 6-5. Jags are 2-9. Jags could still make the playoffs.
Yeah, I still don't understand why you picked the Patriots after the first year. I still don't understand that.
Stuart, how about you type away and put like Doug's name next to the Bills,
All right.
and then your name next to the Chiefs. Getting Bills versus Chiefs Super Bowl.
Doug's Bills versus Stuart's Chiefs.
Well,
Yeah.
like Doug takes the Bills, Stuart takes the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But I'm sure we all know what we're talking about here.
I'll put in the Super Bowl. Fine.
I'm more or less excited for 2 weeks because we had that big bet going on, $10 on the line.
Yeah.
So I picked the Vikings. You guys picked the Cardinals last week.
Cardinals are looking a lot better.
I mean, based on the way we're talking about the Vikings and the way we're talking about the Cardinals should be able to take that game.
That's
yeah.
like upcoming. That's week 12.
Yeah, that's week 12.
Yeah, it's December 1st. So yeah, that'd be week 12, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have one more week.
Oh yeah, that's week 13. Yeah, week 13 that game happens. So yeah, that's the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yep, and I guess we'll see how it goes. And now we got some stock bets. Gentlemen, it looks like Douglas got some good bets because I think we put the Dolphins at a 4, correct? So that means Douglas got $2 extra, $6 extra more.
Yeah, he's at 16 with the Dolphins, and then we moved the Jets up from. Oh, we kept the Jets at $2.
Yeah.
So Doug's at a total of $22. Correct me if I'm wrong.
$22.
Nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 49ers still kept the same. The Dolphins went up 1, so that means you've got an extra $1, so that's 19. And the Saints, did they go up?
Saints, we put the Saints at a.
I think we did give him a 3, yeah.
We gave him a 3.
Very nice.
So that means they got 19 for the Dolphins, and then you got 2 more, so $4.
So
I 21.
21.
Right? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I was getting, because the Dolphins are up $1 I was getting 23, but I might not have looked at that right.
I think you got, you got.
Well, so let's see. Doug,
you're right. It's 21.
Yes.
And Doug, you're at 22, or?
Yeah, I'm at 22. You're at 21. Stu, what do you got?
So I got $3 extra, and that was it from the Dolphins going up. So I went up.
You could have gotten $2 extra.
Oh, $2 extra. So that means $18, right?
No.
Did we go 15 or 18? I'm sorry. I'm going
All
Brady.
right, so sir, you got 1 from the Jags. Well, what I'm saying is that you didn't increase anything.
I didn't increase with the Colts. I didn't increase with the Jags. Did I? I know I increased with the Dolphins. Do I get like $3 or do I get like $6?
Well, you have 2 shares of them, so you'd go up $2.
Okay, $2.
Yeah, so you got 14.
All right, 14. Fine.
There we go.
All right, Douglas. What is your wager for this week?
Well, who do the Jets play?
Jets are on a bye.
All
6
right.
teams on a bye this week. Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Saints, Jets, and Jags.
Man, this is tough.
There's a lot of sussy teams right now.
Yeah, there are. Oh, man, I don't know. So I'm going to keep my Dolphins. I got $4 of the Dolphins at 4 shares of the Dolphins at 4, so I'll keep that. I don't know what to do with that 6. So I'm trying to think about who I'd want. Let me look through next week's schedule.
Yeah, we don't have too many 3s. We have the Saints at a 3. Like if you want to take two stakes at a team that's at a 3, but Saints are off next week. And the Saints are the only team that we took a 3 at.
You know what? Oh, that's wild. Do you know what I'm going to do? This is going to be my hot take of the week. It's kind of a silly one, but change out that Jets for the Browns, baby. I'm going to pick the Browns for a crazy upset. I called it earlier in the podcast. I think they were $2, and I'll take 3 shares of them, so that's my 22.
Oh, my God.
Well, nice, Doug.
If they happen to upset the Steelers, we're going to bump them up. And if they don't, they can't really go to a 1 necessarily with so.
All right. That's
Yeah, true. They can't really. Yeah.
All right, Chris.
That was a good, smart move.
What's your pick right now?
All right, so I'm going to keep Dolphins shares, but I'm going to increase it from what I have 3.
Yes.
Or no, I had 1. So I'm going to buy 4 shares of Dolphins stock at $4 each.
All right, so you got $12. You got $11, $9 left, right?
I got $5 left because I'm going 4 stocks, and they're at $4 each.
Yeah, wouldn't you have 9 because it's like 4?
No, so Dolphins are worth $4.
3 times 4.
And I'm taking 4 shares of that.
So, Stu, you need to update mine and Chris's because the Dolphins are worth $4 a piece.
Oh, shit. I forgot it. Shit.
Yeah, I see where you're doing the math, but you weren't inputting the numbers correctly.
16. Okay, you have $5.
16. I have $5 shares left, or $5 left. I'm selling my 49ers stock. I'm selling my Saints stock. So I'm at $5 left. And I'm going to have 1 share of the Seahawks. So they're at a $5 market. So that means Seahawks versus Cardinals. Here we go.
You're going Seahawks? Wow. You are going for the...
Man, you're a Cardinals hater, eh?
Yeah, because in 2 weeks, I'm taking the Vikings over the Cardinals. That means I'm going to have the Cardinals on a 2-game winning streak. They're going to be 6-6.
I'm trying to think. So if the Packers win, I'm just thinking, would that bounce that up?
Oh yeah, the Packers are at a $6 value. If they beat the 49ers, they could be 8-3.
They could. I think I might. Okay, so I'm gonna probably keep that. Okay, so it's 4. So that would mean 3. Oh man, I won't have enough money. I just realized that.
What are you trying to get? Are you trying to get
I was trying to get the Dolphins at 3, but I don't have enough.
Oh yeah, you can't get enough. Well, no, you still.
Are you trying to keep the Colts?
No, I'm trying to get rid of both.
I was gonna say, sell those Colts stock. They're playing the Lions.
Yeah.
So you got what, $2 left?
Or do I go 2? Oh no, I wouldn't have enough.
So you could buy 2 of the Dolphins, then go like 1 of the Packers, right? The Packers were 6.
Yeah, I might go Packers. You know what? I might go Packers. Packers 6. Man, I feel like my stocks have been not the greatest. Yeah, I'm gonna go 1 right there. I'm gonna go 2 for the Packers.
Oh, there you go. That's not bad.
Yeah, let's do it.
Who do the Dolphins play? They play the Patriots, so that should be a nice, easy stock.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a nice, easy win. I think Dolphins are stocking up, so I'll probably put some.
And they're going to be rich when the Brownies upset the Steelers this week.
Oh my god, how funny!
Yeah,
and then they go to a 1, and then they go to a 1. They just collapse.
This is going to be like my Dogecoin boys to the moon.
Oh,
honestly, if the Browns win, we could probably bump them up to a 3 because off 3 wins. That'd be impressive, but
exactly, and they would have beaten one of the better teams in football. The Dolphins win, they might be up to a 5. All of a sudden, you're looking at almost $30 right there.
Yeah, it is crazy to think that we all just picked the Dolphins,
and we all picked the Dolphins last week too, guys.
We all got the Dolphins stock. It's just because they brought 2 and they've been winning streaks. So, but anyway. Do you have any final thoughts for this podcast?
Final thoughts. Let's go Dolphins. I guess, let's go Browns because that's my home team. Yeah, I'm excited to see those Lions play the Colts.
I'm going to end this just how I started it. How about them Cowboys setting records, Stu? Hopefully they keep that trend going. Let's get a 7 straight loss by 20-plus points.
I hate all of you. I hate this. I want to end this podcast.
Who do they play? Wait, who do they play this week?
The Cowboys?
Commanders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
20-point loss. Let's go.
Actually, it's in Maryland. Well, Washington's in Maryland, but Landover, Maryland.
All right.
Rookie baby Jaden Daniels torching the Cowboys. Let's go.
my rookie QB.
I'm in this podcast. I can't believe it. This is too much. I'm rage after this. I'm just
get the white flag out, Stu. Get the white flag.
I'm rage sleeping.
I already
That's-
got mine out for the Browns.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I'm just rage sleeping. But anyway, I will catch you later, everybody. And as always, I'm going to catch you later, Mr. Gator. So as always, take care. Bye-bye.